What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bulletproof Mindset, your go-to podcast for health, fitness and entertainment. So we are back with guest episodes, and it was an absolute pleasure to welcome Gerry Kennedy onto today's show, who is the owner of AFIT. Now, you'll probably see by the length of this episode, this is full-on Joe Rogan style, but it is well-deserved and rightly so. I think Gerry has a very fascinating story on how he found his path when he came to doing something that was purposeful and meaningful to him. And I think there's a lot to take away from just his story in general, from starting out, and not just as a coach, but getting into fitness, just growing up in the sort of central belt of Scotland and what that was like, and how he managed to pivot and kind of build a very successful brand when it comes to coaching. Now, there's probably going to have to be a part two in terms of Gerry's story, because we'd only just scratched the surface on how AFIT was born and where that's going. And so we'll probably bring him back on in a future episode. But for now, enjoy today's episode. This is a fantastic chat. Now, if you're looking to, if you want to check out his social pages, I'm going to leave a link to his Instagram and that below. Two, if you're interested in potentially joining AFIT and maybe trialing out a couple of sessions or whatnot, then again, the link for that is going to be in the show notes. But yeah, just like straight up, this is a really cool interview to do. Really cool to sit down with him, and we've met once in the past, and it's been a long time coming. So yeah, I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy. One thing I would say is there may be some of you who have never tuned into the podcast before. So look, I need your help. Just really, really quickly. It's free to do. It doesn't take much time at all. If you like this episode and you want to see more guests like Gerry or bring Gerry back on, then if you can rate the show 5 stars or rate however you deem necessary, that's going to help me out massively, and yeah, just helps the show grow more, and yeah, it'd be very much appreciated. So if you're watching on YouTube, head over to Spotify. If you're not on YouTube, head over to YouTube, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of today's episode, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. That's cool there. Because that's where I wanted to start. Because
I can get going, mate. Again.
So the obviously when it's great to finally get you in here as well, because you do strike as just a wholesome guy that's just shooting the shit in his page. You're this solo coach that's running a fucking shit hot gym and that. But that's one of the reasons I want to get you on. But when any guest comes on, one thing I like to do is go back to Instagram, because Instagram was a different kettle of fish back in the day for us, and I like to see what coaches who've been in the space for a long time, what we used to do. Never in my life would I thought I'd see a video of you punching a tree with your boxing gloves. So you get your sparring, and the caption was like, sometimes you just need to go out and hit a tree. Movement is movement.
It's better than hitting a person.
So I guess, like, can I take us back and do like a bit of an overview story of, like, because your story is very interesting, quite actually similar to my own, where you go into, you think taking a corporate job is like the way to go, feeling lost. Like, I think you refer to it as sleepwalking through life. Because I think there's a lot of very powerful lessons from your own journey, and it's one of the reasons I want to get you on. As much as the podcast is called Bulletproof Mindset and all that sort of stuff, and you might think, I've not got a fucking bulletproof mindset. It's no, I think there's trials and tests that we all go through in life, and we're constantly battling, and I think you're a good person to get into this with. So take us back. So were you always into like boxing and fitness? You mentioned that your dad kind of got you into the boxing scene, trying to get you to fight. Stick up for yourself.
No, that was a fucking hell, man. We're going to get into it now. No, the reason my dad got me into the boxing is because I was probably, I don't even know. See, to be honest, Dale, between like 17 and 24, 25, my life's a blur, mate.
Is it?
Yeah, I can't really. See, in terms of like timeline and stuff, I was a wreckhead, mate. I had no structure to my life or anything. I was just up to town every weekend. And that's like, I'm saying weekend, it was probably Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday.
You went to uni, didn't you? So was
went to uni, then dropped out. Did I? No, I didn't drop out of uni. I got so I didn't go to uni until I was 23, 24.
Right, okay.
So I'm probably saying, so probably was around that. No, well, I was still a bit daft then. But yeah, no, so quickly on the thing about the boxes, because I get leathered up the town. I was in a night called Silver. I don't know if you ever... Silver was...
How old are you?
36.
Right, so I'm turning 32 this year, so I'm a couple of years behind you. Was it
I've not got the town. I see now, mate. I don't got the town.
It's dead.
I don't got the town, mate. I know. I get pure PTSD from up the town.
So
it was a place called Play. No, Silver was the other side actually. Silver was you come out central and you turn left.
Right, okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I was fighting in there and I got a doing off the. I get basically dragged in off the bounce. I was fighting and I get dragged in and I got a doing off the bouncers and then went up the road. Had to go to hospital. They can't. Oh yeah, I got a broken nose and everything.
Did you? And interesting.
Then when I in the next day, my dad was like, that's embarrassing, man. You need to sort it. Like it was just dead matter of fact with it. It was like because I was big. You know, it's a lot of sort of quite a normal thing in Glasgow. It's like a peacocking, isn't it? You want to get big. See, when I first started the gym, I must have been like 14, 15, and I just done bicep curls.
Aye, arms, get the arms. I was getting the arms jacked.
But see, the thing is, it shows like how it's all fear. It's a fear thing. I genuinely done bicep curls because I thought I could punch harder. But then see now in the years, I mean, I was never a boxer, right? I did go to a boxing gym. Don't get me wrong, but like, so I know how to throw a punch now, right? And it's mad how you just, when you're a wee guy, you're like, oh, I just want to get big. And I used to love like wrestling and that as well. Like, so,
so what was like? Obviously, going to the gym as early as 14. I take it there was some aspiration in sport or fitness growing up, or
no? Do you know what it was? I get bullied in like nursery and that, and I had a bit of. Yeah, I think it all stands for that, mate. I've been to counselling and stuff. It was a time in my life, like nursery. I was always scared.
Nursery, that's mad.
It's mad, innit? Because you don't even really remember. But it was like, and I guess it's just kid stuff in it. But I remember the boy. I'll not say his name in it, but like I'd pull my hair, bite, scratch, and then like. Fuck, man. But then when I went, like nothing really big. I'd be cuts and bruises and stuff. But I think it just went down as like
child play.
But no, it probably messed me up. Crap. And then when I in primary school, I then became a bully.
Oh,
and then in high school it was like now you get to like you hit puberty and you're a teenager and you start having that internal battle of just like I need to be a big guy and then but you're just scared. Everything's fear in it. You feel a lot of things in life.
It's always done it.
So I genuinely think, and I wasn't like I was naturally quite a skinny guy.
Right.
I was like overweight when I was younger, and then I kind of like lost the baby fat, and then I was actually really skinny, like with really I got really thin wrists. That was like my arm. Like all the way up. You see that? If you look at I've actually really skinny arms. But that was what I just thought.
You start having the bicep curls again.
Yeah, I did the bicep curls, but I had like buck teeth. Right. I got like an Invisalign brace. So I was always kind of scared in that. So then I went, but I was quite popular. I played football. Right. But I never see for someone that was good at football, and I never actually joined the football team until like 3rd or 4th year at school, and then the coaches were like, "Why have you never joined the football team?" Like I was good,
but
it's confidence. I was always low in confidence, and then.
So do you think that does all stem from the nursery stuff?
Yeah, that's when I went to the kind of counselling and that with the work. They said it's probably something that was really deep rooted, and I guess it just shows you the importance of like when you're. I've not got kids, I'd like to have kids one day, but like. Yeah, it's all stems for that. Your whole life can change in the back of it.
Yeah. So we spoke obviously before we started recording here. Like you come from a big family as well. Yeah. So your dad's got 14 other brothers and sisters.
My dad's from a family of 15. Mum's from a family of 14.
Catholic.
Aye, it's just Irish Catholic. The Irish Catholic.
My grand's side of the family's like that, but that doesn't happen as much anymore.
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's probably strange to. It's probably not uncommon to have a big family like that, but having two that marry in together, so then I'm a byproduct of that. So, I've got like 90 plus first cousins and that. It's crazy. It's good though. It's good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is it so mum and dad together? Yeah, still together. Yeah, that itself is a very rare occurrence these days.
Yeah,
particularly like I don't know, like if I think friends, family, and that sort of stuff. I think my mum and dad, Jill's mum and dad. Yeah. Like it's quite common. I guess like 50-60% marriages end in divorce.
That seems a bit mad to me. I just because everyone. I'm trying to think. I know everyone within my family's. I don't know.
Solid family then.
It's a solid. And we're all very close. Very close. Like, do you know what? That's probably one of see in terms of what I'm doing now. I like to think I'm quite a good people person, but when I look back, it's because see from like a young age, I've been surrounded by every type of person. So see when we go to family, so you'd think a family that size, you probably don't all see each other. I'm close with like all my cousins, all my aunties and uncles.
Birthdays, big parties.
But so what we do is it's there's too much going on to go to everyone's birthdays and that. But at Christmas we do a big at Boxing Day we hire a hall. You know, weddings. There's always we've always got like 2 or 3 weddings a year. You know, 2 or 3 communions and stuff like that.
Massive.
So see from when I was literally able to walk and talk, I was surrounded by people. Like, and we're very warm. It's I don't know if it's an Irish thing or it's a Glaswegian thing as well. It's very warm, like good banter. So I've got family from like, you know, very contrasting. I've got uncles that used to run bars down the Gallagate, down in the Carlton East End, cool. and run stalls down the Barras, and I've got uncles that within the same family that are quite high flying. Maybe not board of directors of companies, but you're really high flying, and it's within the same family. And that's not a slight on because if you ask both of these, they're happy.
Aye, they're
that's
content.
Important. Yeah, it's content. That's just they work to their strengths.
So see, growing up and seeing the vast variety of different careers, people, family, did you have any like aspiration to like do well? Was that ever influenced by anything? Like, can you remember anything?
No, it's a strange one because of the family upbringing, like I just wanted to be a good person. That probably sounds mad to say. It's like I've always I would look at my I love all my aunties and uncles. So that's like the first people you look up to. My dad's my best pal, my hero, right?
Before,
so I love my dad's like the best guy ever. So I'd always see my dad and how he interacted in even the family environment. So there's quite a hierarchy to both sides of my family. And do you know what? It probably sounds like I'm not meaning there's any criminality to it.
Mafia.
It's quite mafia.
Yeah.
So like, see things like if anything happens in my family, there's like, so all my grandparents have passed away now, but it all kind of defaults to the oldest son, and it just happens to be, it would be the oldest daughter, it just happens to be the oldest son, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Because in both families as well, sorry, I'm just going off a tangent here, but it's something I always think about, because see, within the gym environment now, I've always been like, so see if you come into AFIT, whether you're a guy or a girl, you're treated no different, albeit the weights might be different, but I'll just I've been surrounded by strong women all my life as well. So my grands, see, in both families, like typical maybe Irish family, big strong Irish grandpas, really small Irish grannies. But the power my grands had, it was like a silent power they had. Like you know, they commanded respect, and it was a strange. It was like I like that dynamic. So I've always, even though I've got two sisters, so I'm like three. Yeah, there's only three of us, and then I've got two sisters, so I've always just been surrounded by like strong men and strong women, and they coincide. It's not like there's none of this like, oh, you know what? It's like we work together.
Yeah.
Even in that family environment, if anything happens, if anything were to happen in the Kennedy family, for example, it would be like, right, we need to have a meeting. So my dad would be on the phone, right, something's happened. We need to have a meeting. We'll meet up at this is before my gran passed away. We'd meet up at my gran's, and then they'll have a big team sort of meeting, and they'd discuss it, and then they'd go away.
It's like an organisation. Yeah, it's like you probably remember it back for like your old leadership days and that. That's like priming you for life for sure.
And then even when we get into these family dues, it would be a case like it's packed, and just there was a respect thing for the elders and stuff like that. Within reason. I mean, if you see, the thing is, if you're older than people say that in AFIT, I was actually speaking to one of the boys the other day. I went to run. And he was like, within AFIT, it's like, see when I walk into the gym in AFIT, I don't walk in like, fucking Gerry's here, you know what I mean?
Bow.
See within AFIT, I'll walk in and I'll try and just stay under the radar. Like, I actually seen on Instagram the other day, it was like, what some people think gym owners are like, and they're just swaggering in,
and he comes in with a bucket
and he comes in with a bucket and he's trying to mop and the hoover and all that. That's me all over. I much prefer that sort of way. But at the same time, if I show my respect to just like, so one of the boys was saying to me, it's mad because in AFIT you don't really, you're quite a big guy in that, you're fit and stuff, but you don't use that to gain influence. It's like people maybe just like listen to you because it's a respect thing, but then there's a few guys that are in the gym that are older than me, and then like people will call me like, alright boss, what's happening and that, like I don't ask to be called anything, I'm just Gerry, but it's just naturally kind of happens. But then there's guys in the gym that are like older than me, like there's a guy Graham, and I like he's like the main guy in the gym.
You got this ingrained into you.
Yeah, it's just a kind of respect thing. I'm all about respect. I don't really, and like see, unless you've done something to gain the respect, and you know. But the elder thing, it's like a default setting.
Aye, it's
you're older than me, so you must have some wise. You've got something I could probably tap into. There, you've got life experience that I could probably maybe use at some point. So
for sure. So you said like the
do you just want to be a good person? Like, see if there's one trait that you ever think that you'd want a kid to have growing up, it's that. Like, because that bleeds into every area of life, like jobs, all this sort of stuff that can apply perfectly.
See, the thing is as well, Dale, see in terms of like anything I'm doing going forward in life, like see as long as like there's that underlying current of everything I'm doing is from a good place to an extent. I'm not going to go out and try and hurt anyone or fuck anyone over. So it means when I make a decision in life, try to expand the gym just now, or quite big life decisions, there's not an underlying thing going, oh, I'm fucking somebody over here. It's like, no, I'm doing this for a good place. So it actually kind of gives you a bit more confidence in how you carry yourself going forward.
Yeah, that's cool. So kind of growing up in that sort of stuff then, so can you ever remember like I like asking this question to see where people's heads are at, but if you don't have an idea, like job wise, like what you thought you'd be doing, like careers days in high schools, like what was that like for you?
I wanted to be a cartoonist. Like
cartoonist, right? Is it?
I don't know, I'm not a caricature. Yeah, a cartoonist, like for like the Simpsons and that, South Park, Lion King, Disney and all that.
Right, okay.
I love drawing.
So am I right in saying, like, we'll come on to like the design and logo design and coming up with the name AFIT and all that sort of stuff, but did you draw and design all that sort of stuff yourself then?
The AFIT stuff?
I like the early days, like
you
mentioned
mine, that's what I mean.
Right, so that makes sense then. So
I'm just that kind of creative. See, when you look back now, so see back in school, in terms of like like exams, I'm a relatively smart. I'm not like, I'm probably just above average. I was quite good at maths, so alright English. I was just a kind of run of the mill sort of guy. But I struggled in school. I did struggle. So I basically went from, I don't know what it is now, but seeing like third or fourth year, you do I don't know if it's intermediate
and standard grades
and stuff like that. Right? So see in school, in third year I got 8 1s. I don't know what it's or 8 A's.
Class.
Yeah, and then and then so fourth year's when you first do hires. So I was projected to get I don't know what age are you in third year. Whatever age that is, 14.
You must be ready to leave school, so it's like 15, 16
14, I think it might be 14ish, right? 14. So I get 8 1s. And I was projected to get 5 A's in fifth year for my hires. Fifth year's fifth, and then 6 I. And I get 1 higher C, failed at everything else.
What happened?
So that's when I just started hitting.
Right.
No, it's probably after puberty, but I just started running about with the wrong crowds. Like, I think you probably start drinking at about that sort of age, 15, yeah, probably. A lot of factors. I just started rebelling. Even at football, I was getting like, I went from being like like I said, I took my time to get into the football team, and then I don't know, I can't even put a finger on it, mate, to be honest. I just lost my head a wee bit. I struggled with, do you know what it was? I struggled with structure. It's like, see when you start, do you know what I think it might have been? When I done the intermediate 2s, I think it was kind of new, and I was like, oh, this is exams and stuff. And I think it might have been the pressure or like having to stick to a structure of like studying for exams. And I think it's just the way my brain is. I just struggle. I mean, these days the buzzwords like ADHD. I don't know, maybe I've not got ADHD, but I think I just struggle with stuff like that. I like to just
crack on.
So like drawing. I would like to just go and draw stuff, and I think being restricted into a space of like, Gerry, you need to stay within these walls and do this and follow this line. That's when I started, probably my life started going to the point.
Where did you grow up?
Originally from Government Hill, then we went to Crossfoot, and then we moved up towards Giffnock. Right. So I think I probably struggled with that as well, because but my dad's from the Calton, the East End, like down the Barrows sort of way. Obviously a big family, so there's not a lot of money, but my grandpa and my gran obviously done, like, raised brilliant. Mum and that for the gobbles. So like, I was moving up towards Giffnock. That was my mum and dad like working their arse off to get us up there, and then I ended up moving up towards Giffnock, and I was like, you're surrounded by money,
right?
This isn't a poor me. I think it's just, I look back now, it's all stuff I've spoke about when I went to the council and that. It's like we went from like, you're going into a nice area, and then but you're like poor within a nice area. Not poor, no, I don't want to say we're poor. It wasn't that, because my mum and dad like gave us everything.
You just feel like you're not from there.
Yeah, it feels a bit different, because when we went to talk about, this is one that I don't know if I think I've referenced this before in that Kyle's podcast, but see in primary, this is one of a factor that really, I think, moulded me to the person I am now, right? So, see, when we went to primary school, you done, it was like primary 6 or 7, you go to school with your, you go to work with your parents.
Aye.
So my mum was working, well, I don't know if she was working, I don't know if my mum was working at that point, but my dad's like a concierge in like the high-rise flats, so like a janitor in the high-rises, so he works, you know, some of the roughest high-rise, you know what high-rise flats, they typically are, you know, rough areas and that, so it was like go to school with your parents, and generally back then, I never really knew, I was like, oh yeah, cool, whatever, and then
I don't understand jobs or like
the jobs
wealth
or anything,
or anything like that.
So like people were like, oh, I'm going to my dad's lawyer firm, I'm going to my dad's, my mum's a doctor, or you know, I'm obviously being a bit extreme here. There obviously was people that were just like, you know,
it was just what you know,
average
like,
jobs.
That's well different.
And then when I said, oh, I'm going to my dad's a concierge, I didn't know what it was. Like, and that's again, I'm not knocking it. Like you'll soon see with this story that, but concierge to me, I was like, wow, my dad's a concierge. I never actually knew what it was. It sounds a fancy word, right? So I was giving it like, oh, I'm going to my dad's a concierge. We're going to go to his work. And I knew he worked for Glasgow City Council, but obviously that's for the high-risers. So I was like, oh, he's a concierge in the City Council. And I was like, fuck it, that's big time. And then one of the kids was like, to the teacher, what's Gerry's, what's a concierge? And they're like, oh, you're like a janitor, the guy that thinks the bins. And like, everyone started laughing, and then I started being like, this is news to me.
Right.
And again, this is probably the kind of like, it wasn't bullying, but it was a bit like, oh fuck, you know, see that feeling, that sticks with you. And I remember I was a bit like, oh fuck, and then I was kind of, I was so embarrassed, and then my dad was like, okay, we're going to go to, you're going to come, it's Kenny's Head Flats, I don't know if you know Kenny's Head. Kenny's Head is quite a rough area around about, it's like the outskirts, like sort of Giffnock, Kenny's Head, Ardenne, like, yeah, it's a rough area, right? Well, again, lovely people will stay there and stuff, but people even there will know the Kenny's Head flats. They've actually been ripped down now. There's still, I think there's still 2 there, but it was a rough set of flats. And then when I was going with my dad, I was like, oh, this is fucking. By this point, I knew I was going to go and, you know, take bins out and stuff. And I was like, this is. And I think he maybe sensed it. I think something changed, because originally I was like, oh, this is going to be some buzz. And I look back now, I feel a bit bad. But we went, and literally the first thing we done was we cleaned piss out the elevator, right? And I was like, oh, this is, oh my God, I need to go back. And even at that age, 6, I don't know what age, primary 6, you're probably 10 or something. But I was so aware. I was like, I need to go back and do a kind of show and tell, and that's what the thing was. You need to go back and tell about it. And I was like, this is, oh man, like this is horrible. Like this is, how do I go back and talk about this? And then, yeah, so we went, it was like Thursday, Friday, so the Thursday was just cleaning out the big bins, you know, big massive bins and all that, just kind of kicking about. And then I went up the road, and I remember thinking, oh man, like this is so embarrassing. So anyway, I'll try and cut the story short. On went in the Friday, we're kicking about and stuff, and we were doing a kind of walk round the flats, and there was a group of boys graffitiing. And back then I was aware of like the area I was in. I knew like this area was rough compared to where I'd stayed now, and the boys were all wearing like, so back then it was like Merapeaks. You know, there's a certain little jacket you wear and stuff. So I was going, oh my, there's a big group of 20 boys over there.
Lacoste trackies and
all that. And they were all graffitiing, like whatever they were graffitiing. And my dad was walking around, and I've looked up at him, and his demeanour's changed, and I was like, oh, don't tell me he's like, again, this is all stuff as a 10, 11-year-old I'm aware of. I'm going like, we're going to get beat up here. Me and my dad are going to get beat up off these guys, because he's going to say something, and the guy's going to beat us up. So my dad's just stormed over. And this is all stuff, see, as I've obviously, as I've got older, I've realised that my dad commands respect. My dad's like, he's like the best guy. Like, you'll probably see this through the podcast. I love my dad. This was the first day I noticed what my dad was all about, right? So he's then went, no, and he's like, I'm not having this. And he's went up, and he's like, here. And he's like, see within him saying, like, he shouted something, and all these boys just went, oh, Gerry, like proper. And it's not because he's a hard man or anything. I mean, there's aspects of my dad probably is like rough upbringing, right? Yeah. But literally these guys, it was like a hypnotist. Boom, these guys were like, just changed. Previously they were like, I have a thing in bottles and stuff and that. And then he went, here, come here, and they all come over. But the control my dad had over these guys, albeit they're young boys, so maybe like 17, 18. But I tell you what, 17, 18-year-olds down about that area back then, 17, 18-year-olds now are different. It's all there's all bark and no bite. Back then it was you're about
it was
it,
proper,
right? And I kind of knew some of their faces, just maybe knowing their wee brothers and stuff. And I was like, oh, these guys are, and they're bigger than me, these guys as well. And then my dad's come over and he's just commanded. He was like, right, I'm not having this. He's like, you get up, and he's telling these guys what to do. And he's like, I want you back down here with sponges and water and all that. Like, all right, sorry, Gerry, I'm so sorry. And then he's just ripped these guys apart, right? And I was like, wow,
what is this?
That is amazing. How did he do that? And then he's like, right, and then he's like, fuck off. And then they were just like, right, sorry. And then sure enough, they've come back round, they've all got buckets and they're trying to clean off the graffiti. And I was like, wow, what happened there? My dad's just like, he's just a janitor and he's got that much respect. And see, when we've started walking around, a wee old lady's come out the bottom flat and she was like, Gerry, I've got you some, it was like a can of Coke and crisps and that. And she was like, there you go, you're brilliant at that. And then she said to me, your dad's a fucking hero around here. Do you know what? Everyone loves your dad. See this full place, it wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your dad. Like, he keeps us safe and he keeps them boys in check and then he does this. You go realise how important your dad is. And I was like, fucking right, man. My dad's a man. And then I started actually, again, as a wee guy, I think a lot of it's hindsight now as well. Me as I'm old and a man now, I'm looking back and I'm probably putting this together a bit more. But then the rest of that, like Friday in the thing, I was like, I'm realising what he was doing. He was allowing these people to live in a nice, safe place. He was keeping people safe. And then it all rounded off by he basically said to me, the last thing we were doing before I went back to school was like, do you want to go on the roof? And I was like, fucking right, I want to go on that roof. So we went up the roof of the Kenneth Hedge Flats.
Whole of Glasgow.
Whole of Glasgow. And then we went up. And that's a pure core memory for me because I was looking and I was like, this is dynamite. He goes, yeah, like we're up here. He goes, I know you probably think I'm just a janitor, but look at this. Like, and I was like, wow,
I love that
amazing
story. Sounds like your dad's, like, everybody kind of coasts through life when they do the job that they do, but this is a perfect example of having like strong integrity.
Yeah,
the job
big
that you're
time.
doing and actually having care.
Yeah,
it comes from that. What you said, being a good person, being a good.
Yeah,
you've probably seen these kids grow up and the relationships built with that.
There's definitely part of it now where it's like, this is old when he's older again now, and I'm older as well. And so something happened not long ago in one of the high rises in another place in the city. I'm not going into too much detail, but something happened to one of the guys once, a concierge. He basically, it was an altercation, and it kind of got a bit of a doing out of it because of whatever happened, right? And my dad at this point is like in his 60s, and then he's come home and he's told us what happened. And I didn't tell. I think we found out somehow. And I says, Dad, I can't have you going back to that. Like, you're getting old, you're getting on now. Like, that's dangerous. There's people who run about blades and stuff, like junkies and that. And he was like, Gerard, I'm cool round there. Don't worry, don't ever worry. I know these boys, the boys that had done all this. He goes, I know them since they were 2-year-old. Like, I'm invested in their family.
It's almost like a grandpa to them.
I was like, aye. So he goes, like, I'm don't worry about me. And then the guy and he told me the whole story a bit more. And he says, the guy that came onto the site has come on and acted a bit like, like in a way. He goes, I know how to speak to people. Like, and then I was like, nah, you're fine. Aye. So, and it's sure enough, he's invested. I've always wondered with that because I think, like, I think he could maybe have, like, so see what I do now. Like, my dad was good at football, he's fit and all that. And then I said to him, why didn't you ever try something else? He goes, I love what I do. And do you know, there's a lot to be said for just loving what you do.
So much peace in it, man.
Oh, so much peace.
Yeah.
He retired and then went back to work.
Did he?
Because he was just like, I know, like, it's people, innit? People, like, see, people can be a currency in themselves. If you're around with good people, that's better than money sometimes. Because I never really found out when I went to this, talking about the graduate job, I was surrounded by, I was getting X amount a month and I get X amount a year salary, but I was surrounded by horrible people. Yeah. And then the money became irrelevant. Yeah. Whereas, like, maybe some people are in jobs and then you go, oh, you're only in that job. It's like, that person's happy. So
let's talk about that. Like, so fast forward through this journey. You come out of school. What the gap between leaving school and getting into uni? What's happening there? Are you at college? Are you?
So I left school
because I've heard you saying, like, there's always a divide in there. They're like, you go to a trade, you go to a job with your family, or you go into uni. They were the three sort of options for me.
I basically left in fifth year. I get one higher C. And then it was just like, well, what's happened to you, man? You fell off. Like, even that, it's a shame because mum and that were just like.
I was going to say, so you the oldest between your sisters?
No, I'm the youngest.
Right, so, and your sister's like, am I right? What did they do?
So, my oldest sister, Charlotte, she's a GP.
Right.
Amanda's a primary teacher.
Right, so they kind of, I'd imagine, academically going through school, done pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Charlene is like, like even Amanda and Charlene, like, they're like my best pals and all. I'm like, I've got a lot of friends, but like really close. But,
going into your hires then, like, and what do you think there was a bit of pressure and a bit of standard?
So Charlene was always really academic in school.
Right.
Amanda was maybe, no, in fact, Amanda was good. No, she was like, Charlene was just another level in school. She was like A's and stuff. Whereas me and Amanda probably were floating about the kind of BC hires, and I shouldn't have Amanda got them. And then I got the C in 5th year, and then I ended up getting 2 C's in 6th year because I tried to then go back and sort it out in 6th year, and I just fell off again, mate.
Was it pressure for like mum and dad and that sort of stuff?
No,
or was it
my mum.
on
I think it
yourself?
was just like
maybe not from them, but try to please them.
I think. Actually, you know what? It's a tricky one because I wanted to do a trade. So some of my pals were all leaving school in 4th year and going and being a plumber and all the rest of it. And then by the time it came to like 6th year, I think they kind of knew. Oh, he did kind of always say what to do a trade, but I think naturally, maybe potentially because of my mum and dad's upbringing, they've obviously moved up to a nicer area to like give their kids the best opportunity to, you know, get the grades and stuff.
Education,
and that. So I guess to be honest as well, for my mum and my dad never got good grades at school, so I think inevitably he's just felt like I didn't have the opportunity to.
Different world though, growing up.
So I guess it's just opening up different options to you. So I think partly for them it was like when I said I wanted to do a trade, they were like, no, like you need to get your hires and then you can do a trade, you know. And I get it now. Because at the time I was like, it's just, like, I felt like they were holding me back, or it was a wee bit of like, okay, and you're a teenager as well, so I was like, this is shit, man. You're making me do these hires.
That's ingrained into your mum and dad.
It's great. And I get it now as well, mate. Like when I was younger, I was like, that's put me in a position where I've had to then go and do uni and stuff. But I get it. I totally get it now, and I appreciate it. And but yeah, so 6th year I get two higher C's. I think I left with 3 higher C's or 4 higher C's. I can't remember, but I couldn't get into uni anyway. So by this point, and to be honest, see when I left school, what was that, year 17, 18, I was becoming a bit of a lost cause. Right. I was becoming a bit of a, just like my sister Charlene was at St Andrews or doing medicine, and Amanda was doing primary teaching. Yeah. So they're like they're fully in uni at this point, and they're good. They're nice kids, good kids for my mum and dad. And I was a bit of the problem.
So are you starting to find alcohol and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I was just like, getting like weekenders and that, right. Like getting, you know, fighting, drinking, getting into drugs at that point, like your pills. You used to go to a place called Archaeos. You don't know if you know Archaeos. Archaeos was like, Archaeos wouldn't be allowed to be around now. No. It was mental, mate. People would get in there with Lacoste trackies and that on. It was nuts. But in there, I would start taking pills, and then like the Arches. Oh, right, used to go to the Arches as well, so I done the Arches as well. It was a bit of a mix. I liked a bit different. I like the madness. Archaeos was a bit more between 16 and 19. It was like like BAMs, just a BAM. You get in there and just have a fight and whatever else. Then I started getting into the Arches.
Are you starting to get like a wee bit more popular in those circles because you being a adding a bit of size on you, starting to box and all that?
I hadn't started boxing at that point. I was big.
No,
I was big. I was just like, I'd started going for the bicep curls to just, I was big. Right. The thing is, it's always something that's kind of been said to me. People just assumed I was taking roids and that. People still think I take roids to this day. Like, I don't, I never have. Like, I would be honest, mate. See in 3 years' time, I know I'm going off a tangent, I'll go back, but see even things like TRT, mate, and like, I'll probably take TRT in a few years' time, and I'll tell people I take it. But fun, like, I've never have. So back then, it was like, I was big. I'd started falling away. See my friends from school that I played football with and that. Great bunch of boys. You know, you find people that... I was actually speaking to Chris about this the other day. He's still really close with his pals for school. And most people are. It's very normal, isn't it? I'm not, because I can't think of the timelines again. It was a bit of a blur, but there was a spell between like 18 and 20. I was a loose cannon. I was just I wouldn't say I was a psychopath by any means, but I was very erratic. I loved a square go and that, like, but not in a bully way. It was like, I think this is all stuff from like back in the day. See, if I was out up the town and I seen someone else getting an occasion and I felt like it was a bit one-sided, I would just jump in for the guy that was getting a doing. And it, you know, just think,
find yourself battering both of them.
Yeah, I think partly it was maybe just like, Yeah, you know, it's like probably try to take it out on bullies. Like,
it's like built up. It's built up, and it's crazy that this goes way back to nursery, man.
Yeah, and it's all like it's a fear thing as well, and you're trying to show off. Like it's all ego as well. Like you're trying to show off. You want to be the big man kicking about.
Who do you think you were trying to show off for and impress?
It's like I was trying to be the person that I felt I needed when I was like. Again, this is probably see the thing is when I was nursery. You hear that's a cliche thing to say, but I remember. So see the thing is, right. So see when I was growing up, albeit had a lot of big cousins, right. I never had. Well, I had one big cousin that was kind of local to the area. A lot of my cousins were down in like a couple of big cousins for down like kind of Castlemilk way, like. Yeah, there was no one local to me. They went to different schools and that, so I never actually had. For someone that has a lot of, well, you backup. You know, if you got, usually find someone's got a lot of cousins that have a lot of backup. A lot of the cousins around about me were girls. So when I was growing up, if I ever got in any bother, I never had anybody to shout. But on the flip side, I had wee cousins that kicked about the area and stuff, and inevitably something would happen with them, and I'd end up being the guy that'd be like, right, you messing with my wee cousin. So I'd end up stepping in. I was finding myself getting in a lot of altercations and that. So then when I started going to the gym, I just wanted to be this big guy that you go, fuck, I'm no messing with him. It's peacocking. I know what it is now. Back at the time, I'd be like, no, I'm no scared of him.
Do you remember, like, it's funny, like, any time I'm walking through somebody's story and why we start lifting weights, that it is to get size on. But who do you remember seeing, or is there anything that pops in your mind where you're like, man, they're massive, I need to get that big, that's intimidating as fuck, or that's like ego driven? Was there any like inspiration or that?
Not well.
Maybe no inspiration.
When I was
like,
younger, I liked I liked wrestling.
Right, okay,
so
right.
Hulk Hogan.
I
liked Hulk Hogan. My dad calls me Hoagie.
Does he?
Yeah, that's like everyone laughs when they hear it, but like, and I don't get embarrassed by it. Because people go, you don't get embarrassed.
That's
like,
a compliment.
Yeah,
maybe
I like Hulk
but...
Hogan, mate. Aye. Like that's what I always say. I'm named after two of my heroes. Like my dad calls me Hoagie, but then my name's Gerry, so I'm named after my dad.
Class.
So like. So like probably wrestling, like Stone Cold, like even like Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff like that.
And all that.
See before because UFC wasn't like
no.
It was obviously we know it's all fake, but yeah, that sort of thing of like a big strong guy. But then even when I started getting old, like sure enough, when I was in all occasions and that, there'd always be someone, someone would phone a big brother or something, and then he'd show up, and then you'd go, fuck. All right, okay. I probably wanted to be that guy that people would just go, I'm not even going to bother, man. Like, I'll just take the
Can you imagine you coming in with the wrestling moves and that?
Yeah, I was slinging. Well, that's the thing. See, to be fair, I'm saying all this stuff, like, you probably look all bravado here. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I was taking downs and that. I wasn't like I'm out there battering people. I was taking downs. Like, I wasn't like... Yeah,
I wonder if there's a part of you that kind of, don't know, latched onto that, like, the pain a wee bit. And the,
inevitably,
the beating. Or
it was like the chaos. It was just the chaos, aye. And the thing is, this is a strange thing as well, because see that even like... in that nursery environment, it wasn't that bad.
It's not like so traumatic. Or
but for a kid, that is, you know what I mean, getting like bit and getting your hair pulled and stuff, like it's traumatic. So it probably is like it's something that just it's obviously been underlying. But
so you changed your sort of crowd who you're hanging about with, experiencing like drinking alcohol, getting drunk, getting high or whatever it is. Did you obviously in hindsight, looking back, you're like, I wasn't happy in that, but did you feel happy? Was that the first relief of, man, I like this feeling?
Never. I always blacked out.
Right.
I was like, it was like kind of Jekyll and Hyde sort of person. Like, this is the thing now, there'll be people that see me now, Dale, right? Not few, to be fair, because a lot of people probably don't use Instagram. Like, wasters, mate. Wasters. Like, and I would say to them as well, because I do think they're wasters. Like, there's stuff that's happened in that, but I just see that it's like it's a sort of Jekyll and Hyde thing, right? And it's like I was becoming. I liked. It's hard to explain it, so it's really hard to explain. I liked when people were like, that hang of like, oh fuck Gerry, like I'm no mate, like I had to walk into a place and people were like, oh this guy's a bit. I like because I could dictate whether I want to talk to you or not, and no one would come up and try and talk to me. So I was always the kind of guy that stood like, see if something happened, it would be like, oh, give Gerry a shout or something. So I liked that. Like you'd sit in a room, it was like a different sort of power. So I'm talking about, like my dad and like my gran, they kind of command a respect in a way. But I was taking respect. I was trying to take respect off people, and then I could then dictate how I wanted to act in the back of it. But
there's more control.
It was me just wanting control. again, it's just like just fear. But then I started my friends. Like obviously, I'm in school and I'm sober and I'm a different kind of person. And the drink and the drugs just takes you a different place. And then I started falling away from my friends from school because they were like, nah, you're just a loose cannon. So between like 20, just to get back on it, I'm aware you're asking a question. I'm going off on a tangent.
This is podcasting, mate.
But so about like, in 1920, I was just lost, and I was working in Morrison's. I was was it was Safeway or Morrison's? I don't know, same sort of thing. I think it might have been no, it would have been Morrison's, I think. But yeah, I just worked in the checkouts. I loved it. I thought it was great, man. I worked there as part like during school, 6th year. I was just working part time. And you
get that wage, first time experience and money, and you're like,
yes. But then see that, so the wage, but then also just like I loved being in the checkouts. I would just talk to people. I loved it, man. The people would come in, then you start finding like inevitably during the day, it's like older people come in, and like I didn't used to get complaints, but it would be a case of like the supervisor. The supervisor would come up to me and say, Gerry, you've like people would come up to the queue I was in, right? I'm sure making myself sound like I'm the best checkout guy. It was because I would genuinely just talk to people.
Them,
So like the old people would all come to my queue, and then the supervisor would say, that checkout's empty, and they'd go, no, we're just going to stock to Gerry. And then
did you see what they done? I can't remember which supermarket it was, but they've opened a checkout queue for older people to talk.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. So that's what I was like in Morrison's. I loved it, man, because you get to know people and stuff, and then you could tell you're brightening up their day, and they're brightening up my day. You know, it's good to see these people. And again, it's like a kind of older thing. Like I'll generally try and tap into like just someone older. I think it's fucking fascinating. Some people's stories they can tell you, and you just learn from it.
So it sounds like you get this like split personality almost of like to live in two different lives.
Well, so this is the thing. There's so see when I started getting older as well, do you know what I think it was down to as well? So when I got to like 15, 16, I started to put everything together of like, oh, I'm from a big family. Like so see if you were to go down the Gallagate, like the East End, by no means is it's like, oh, the Kennedy brothers or anything like that, but they sort of command a bit of respect down there. Like my dad played for a lot of my uncles played for the Carlton Cosmos football team. Like if you go down the bars down the Gallagate, I can go down the bars down the Gallagate and people will be like, you look like a Kennedy. You know, it's that sort of thing. And it's all but as years went on, I've realised it's out of respect and being a good person and loyal, and maybe there's an aspect of like you're not scared to get a tear up. So, you know, like when I'm 15, 16 and I'm staying up and giving up that sort of nice, don't get me wrong, like, again, Ken's Head, there's rougher areas round about, but then there's like different Clarkson and stuff. And I'm kicking about with people and I'm starting to realise like, wait a minute, my family's for the East End. Again, it's just embarrassing actually thinking about that now, but like, I was like, my family's for the East End, my dad's for the Carlton, blah, blah, blah. My dad's not instilling this in me. This is me just putting one and one together.
A teenager and just arrogance and ego.
Because I'd started to realise if I went to a Celtic game, I would go down to the Gallagate, and there would be guys, older guys, so you go down to Brazen Head, down the Gobbles, and then you'd get in there and with my dad, and people were like, oh, Gerry Kennedy, but to my dad. And so I'd start maybe having a bit like, oh, I need to maybe act like, and again, my dad never acted like that, but I was probably going like, I need to start acting like a bit of a ticket up here, because
I was going to ask you a question there. Like, did your mum and dad notice this part of you?
Yeah.
How was that on the relationship of the family and that sort of stuff?
So I think I'm just about getting there with my mum now. Like, I think like I feel bad because I probably was a bit. Do you know what it is with my mum in that? Well, most of my mum, I get now that she would have a go at me a lot, but she would have been fucking terrified because she's probably not sure if I'm coming up the road sometimes. Sometimes she's getting a phone call and I'm down at Govan in the cells, things like that. And then see, even when she came and picked, I remember one time, the first time I got picked up for the cells, and it was just like, I just remember her face, and I think, fucking hell, man, like, it doesn't, why? Like, she's worked so hard to get me good school and all the rest of it, and then but I was aware of it, but I was like, fuck it, I'm in it now.
It's the young and...
But by that point, I'd left school. I was working in the checkouts at Morrison. So yeah, I'm still that guy. No, you're right. I was still that guy during the day and stuff. Like, because it's always my nature. But then at the same time, like, my friends are all get trades. So my friends that left school with the trades are all starting to buy motors and that now, and got money. And then other people are going into uni. So I was in a position with that when I was out just getting drunk and all the rest of it and fighting and all that. Like, all my friends, it's like I'm here and all my friends are starting to just like,
just feel like,
and then you start seeing all these stories about like, oh,
social media starts nice to pop off.
Social media starts kind of coming about then as well, and then I was working in Morrison's at checkouts, and I was doing deliveries for my pal's pizza place at Tony's. So this is one of the... So see, around about that time, I was doing deliveries to people, right? 19 to 23, that sort of age range, right? And I was doing deliveries to people from school who've buying their first flat, and they're opening the door to me and they're going, "Oh, Gerry, all right, Gerry, what's happening? What you been up to? What you doing these days?" And I'd be like, "Well, this," and I'm fucking working in the checkouts at Morrison's.
Did you feel embarrassed?
Oh, so embarrassed, mate. So it's a different sort of embarrassment going on, because you're just like, "I fuck this, man. What the fuck am I doing?" Like,
Did that push you further into drinking?
Yeah, it pushes you further into drinking, and then it's like, and then it becomes a point of, what's the point now? Anyway, I'm at this point again. I don't. The ages all vary, because it happened at different points. But I'm like, I'm 22 now.
Compounding.
I've got nothing going on anyway. I'm working. I worked up to. So then I consciously I try to make an effort to progress myself in Morrison. So I asked for a promotion. They were always wanting to give me a promotion, because I like to think I was good in the place. So they put me into produce, and I was like the supervisor in produce. So like the lettuce and all that, that sort of stuff. And yeah, a bit more money, a bit more responsibility, and I was good. And again, they were like, and they have nothing but good things to say about me. And but I was still like, and then even then, like, I'm like a 20-year-old, try to be a bit of a boy, try to be this alpha type, but I'm a fucking supervisor in the produce at Morrison's. People are still coming and going, like, "All right, Gerry," because now you'd be and I'm doing something in the produce section, and
it starts breaking that character,
and it'd go, "All right, Gerry, are you working here?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm working here, aye." But I was happy, I was content though. This is I was content. It's only when I seen someone I'd be like, "Oh, this is embarrassing."
Yeah.
So again, I was always happy. I'm happy to just be happy. You know what I mean? So then, but then it's the pressure of everything else. Then you do start getting to the point where it's like, I need to do something here. So effectively what happened was, I think I was up the town or something, just whatever, like not just fighting, and then I got that doing one of the nights, and then went up the road the next day. And my dad's always been great. Like, you need that contrast. Your mum's probably a bit more harder on me, but again, I know it's like, I feel so bad. But I'm sure mum will say now, like, it had to happen to get to where I am now.
Absolutely.
So like, I just got to my first house there, and it's been so nice to see my mum. See her, I can see the happiness in her, that finally, I even said to her the other day, we were out in the garden, and it's a really nice area up in Giffnock. And I actually said to her, like, "I've finally done it, mum. I've made it now." And then she was like, "I'm so proud of you." And I was like, "Thanks a lot." Like, but it was nice, because it was, we both knew what we were talking about. Like, it wasn't like, "Oh, I'm proud of you, son." I was like, "I got there in the end, mum, didn't I?" Like, I'm not saying this is me fine, I'm done now. Like,
no, of course,
but it was a nice moment. We both knew what we were talking about.
Redemption a wee bit, for like,
and then
where you could have went.
Aye, and I did say that, because even when I was struggling at points, like, I said to my mum, like, a few years ago when I was in my graduate job, and I was like in the midst of depression, and my mum's always been great. She's been fucking brilliant. And like, I remember I said to her one point when I left her up to see her one time, her parents, and I was just like, I'm so scared, man. Like, and I think my mum likes the fact that I was trying. See, when I eventually did go to uni and get my graduate job, and then I was miserable and I was depressed, I think then she started feeling guilty, because she was like, fuck, I should have. And by no means was she pushing me into doing stuff for my dad or anything, but it's like, I felt like I had to start getting to that position. And then I used to always think, I wish I could just go back to fucking working Morrison's, man, on the checkouts. Like, that's such a happier life. I was making like a fifth of the money, but I was happy. And I think maybe when I did go through my spell of being really depressed and like, like borderline suicidal, I think there was guilt there, because they are going, fuck, we should have just let him just go. Because I did come out of the mad drinking stage and all that. I did start to just be a bit more mature and like naturally. So then, so there's obviously a few cycles going on of like being a bit of a bam, hothead, just like struggling to find just ego. I look back now, because I've read a lot of books on ego and stuff, and then I went through a spell of depression, and then my mum's obviously trying to navigate through that. So then the other day when I seen in the garden, I said to her, like, I've got there in the end, like, I'm good now. I think now she's finally went, no, he is good now, he's fine. Like, because I
can believe it.
Even in the depression, it was kind of like, is he all right? Like, is he? I can kind of talk about it now. I do still have down days and stuff, but yeah, that was a nice moment. So basically, so I was up the town, and then I basically fighting, and then I get dragged in. Turns out the boy I was fighting with was like, his brother was one of the bouncers and that, so I get dragged in and got a doing off the bouncers on top of like, I think it was a 50-50 fight. I mean, I can't really remember, but got a doing up the road the next day, and then my dad was like, come on. My dad's always spoke to me like that. He can, you know, it's probably just a man-to-man thing. And then my dad probably sees a lot of himself in me. I do think people say me and my dad are like so similar. So he was like, "Come on, fuck, man, what's happening here?" And I was like, he goes, he just called me out and everything. See the last few years, like of, I don't know what age I was at this point, again, in timelines and
So
stuff.
biting his tongue for a long time then, and then
yeah, he basically
just
he just pulled me aside and went, "See, what are you doing here?" He went, he goes, "You think you're a big," I'm paraphrasing obviously, but it was like, "You think you're a big fucking ticket." He goes, "You wouldn't last 2 seconds. See what you're trying to be now." And it's again, it's all probably what I was trying to do. He was like, "See what you're trying to do now. You're trying to be a fucking hard man." He goes, see me of 21, 22, you wouldn't last 2 seconds with me. And my dad's like half the size of me as well. He goes, because you've not got that. He goes, you do have it in you, but you're doing it all wrong. Like, you've obviously got that grit about you. He goes, I can see a lot myself in you, but you've got this all fucking wrong, Gerard. He calls me Gerard, so it's like,
it's fun.
So that's what he said. It's always a thing. Like in my family, my dad's Gerry. I'm Gerard. Like he's Gerry. I'm like just the kind of second. Yeah, so it was just this conversation. He just went, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like you just need to sort yourself. Like you want to be a hard man. Go to a boxing gym. Then you find out if you're a hard man rather than you try to kid on. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then he called me out loads of stuff. And do you know what? I took it. I would always listen to my dad, even when I was going through it a bit. Sure enough, went to the boxing gym up at Glasgow Fitness up in Folly Bank. It's like kind of it's a gym, but it's like martial arts, boxing and stuff. I remember the first day I went in, because obviously I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I've known in the area. I just knew people in the gym, right? And they might know me, like, oh, there's Gerry, and I'm a big guy, right? But at that point, I'm probably like 14 stone now. I was probably like 15, 16 stone then, like strong.
Been in your early 20s, that size as well.
And in my 20s as well. So I was a bit more like this big guy. So all I done, mate, just weights. I just trained. Like, you know, I'm working in Morrison, so I was at the gym all the time, eating loads. So I basically went to the boxing gym, and I remember it, mate, like it was yesterday. Like, there's a wee guy, Ziggy, who I'm good friends with now. Like half it, I think, back then he used to fight at like 50 something. It was something like your friend Scott. I think maybe a wee bit smaller actually. So again, my mindset now towards stuff like that is different. But back then I was like, this wee guy's running the class. But sure enough, similar to probably my dad, that situation, you know, when we were at the Kenshead Flats, just like Ziggy said something and everyone just quiet, and I was like, all right, okay, what's happened here? Like, this is a bit strange. You know, I was like, I like that. I like what happened there, but I don't really know, like, why are they all thinking? So anyway, I showed these, like, this is a boxing combination, and he's breaking down the combination quite slowly, not like, hitting a bag or anything. And I was like, right, cool. And then he was like, but I wasn't listening to him. I was like, I'm just going to hit this bag. And then he basically went up and he's done the combination on the bag. And I was kind of looking away because I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I was starting to put my gloves on, and then turned around and I've just heard it was like a gunshot on this bag. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, who was that punching that bag? And it was Ziggy. Again, he was only like 50 kilo, and the bag's just like nearly coming off the wall. And this is the first time I've ever went like, oh yeah, I need to be able to do that, man. That's fucking cool. That's so then I started. My dad started being like, you want to be a hard man? Learn how to fight. So then I was like, yeah, that guy can. It's mad as well because I was looking at him and I was looking around the room as the session went on, and there was guys like half my size who I would, you know, you just walk past the street, wouldn't think anything of it, or else if I was up, if I was up in the town and it was a case of like, oh, something's happened, like, you know, there's been a bit of a fight going on, and there's a wee guy over there like, Gerry, you going back to him? I'm like, no problem. Like, you know what I mean? And then sure enough, a guy like that would just lay you out.
To the side.
So yeah, that's when I started like maybe not the ego started crumbling, but I started going like, oh, I have got this all wrong.
You get humbled a wee bit.
Yeah. So yeah, then I went to try to hit the bag, and I'm just like, poof. I don't know if you've probably done a bit, you know, the boxing thing.
It's solid.
Yeah, you're just like, but it's slow.
It's just like,
and it's like, and then
you ever had that dream where you're like fighting somebody and you can't hit them?
Yeah, it's just horrendous. Like the bag's just not even moving, and it was a small bag, and I was just like, wow, man. So literally after that session, it all started. That's when things started being like, right. Don't get me wrong, years later I still went through mad stuff, but like that's when something started to click for me. I was like, oh, this is where I need to be. So I quit the previous gym I was in, which was a wee council gym, and I was like, right, I'm joining this gym, man. I was so humbled. It's the first time I've been properly humbled, like, and I liked it because I was like, right, okay, I want to be a part of this. So then I started going to the boxing. I still done the gym and stuff, but I started doing like kind of boxing training, and it was just a different. I'm used to going to the gym and just.
Well, it's a solo journey. Going into the gym, you're working out yourself, and this is why groups are great, because you get to share it with other people, and that's what, like that, like small group PT, I don't think really existed as much. Maybe it was
not at
boot
all.
camps.
Maybe it did, but I wouldn't in that
actually
industry,
think,
so.
the evolution was like military boot camps. That's the sort of the first thing that started getting more popular.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it would be boot camps and military boot camps.
In a gym, we wouldn't even, unless it was like, well, I don't know actually if there would have been any classes back in the day, but boxing was all YMCA gyms, like spitting sawdust places. So this is the first time out with PE that a group of people come together and you can.
These are all factors that I was actually speaking to one of my cousin's husbands who's joined the gym actually this morning, and I seen them down Shawlands the other day, and I don't know, the boy, my cousin's husband, seemed a wee bit off, and I said, "You all right? What's happening?" And then it looked like he'd maybe put on a wee bit of weight, and I was like, "You all right?" And I was actually just went around with the boys for AFIT, and we went up to Shawlands for a breakfast night after it, and then was speaking to him. And he was like, just tired, mate. I was like, "Were you working last night and whatever?" And he was like, "No, just can't be arsed, mate." Like, I don't know what, Sam's probably like 28 or 29 or something. And I was like, "You're not doing anything anymore? Do you not play fives anymore?" And he was like, No, you know what it's like, mate, just fucking blah, blah, blah. And it's the same. Like,
it's the stories.
It's obviously, I don't know what it's like because I work in a gym, but I know what he means from experience of working in a graduate job or working in management and that and whatever else. So I see it, you'll see it as well, like maybe friends from school and stuff, and it's like, people just stop doing the accessory stuff that they think are just like, I need to give up my fives. I need to get, because it's an hour and I've not got the time. It's like, you don't realise how much that hour of fives is making your life better. Aye. It's like, I do understand it, but
the whole like the way you live life, how it should be lived just now, you end up depressed, you'll end up unhealthy, overweight. It's not a great quality of life at all. But just because we've got devices and things that keeps our attention and all that sort of stuff, it masks all that.
Yeah.
But it's usually the same reiteration. I used to go to this, used to go to that, and just time.
I've not got time anymore.
And it's sad. He's 28. Like, it's mental because he used to see this discrepancy between two 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
He definitely looks after his health and fitness. He doesn't, massive difference in that. You didn't really see it in your 20s because everybody get away with it.
Aye. Well, this is funny because
you see it in mid-20s late 20s.
So he was in this morning at 5:45 and he's left. And it was a quieter session because obviously everyone's got higher ups this weekend, and I seen him at the end and I was like, "How was that?" And he goes, "Oh mate, I'm way off it, man. I'm way off the pace." And like, you could see he was a bit gutted. And I says, "You gonna stick it?" And he went, "Aye, I'm gonna make sure he sticks it anyway because like I'm close with him." But he went, I'm so shocked at how far off I am compared to, like, 2 years ago when I played football and all the rest of it. And I said, "Sam, see, the thing is, remember this when you go home and you feel, maybe there's a slight bit of embarrassment to it, and there's a bit like, you know what, feel that, mate. Feel
no point dancing around.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I'm not going to tell you like, oh no, don't worry about it. Like, you've kind of got yourself in this position to an extent, without meaning to sound harsh. But see, if you leave here and you decide it's not for you because this was hard today, and Friday's going to be hard, and next week's going to be hard, and you need to have a few hard weeks, because see, if you don't keep going now, see that gap you've seen over the last 2 years, that's just going to get bigger and bigger, mate. Like, and you're only 28, so from my point of view, give me 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I can change your life.
It changes so quick though, that's the thing. Nothing's as ever as hard as the first session. I always say that. It's like, it'll never get harder than that. Your first run, your first conditioning session, your first whatever you want to call it, it's mental, isn't it?
And then it's just, he's seen other guys in the gym that, the thing is, people will maybe say like, people think AFIT's just all big, ripped, strong guys. Mate, there's like 80% of people in AFIT are just normal people, like primary teachers, nurses, doctors, like joiners, like project managers and stuff like that. So Sam, I think, came in this morning, and some of the
thought it was all PTs.
Some of the big ripped high rocks guys aren't there because they're taper week, right? But there's still people in AFIT, and I think he was a bit like, I thought this was like the, not the big thingy group, and I was like, no, mate, everyone in AFIT's solid. Just because you're a primary teacher doesn't mean like you can't be solid. I think he was looking about going, no, he doesn't even look that fit, but he's fit, and I'm like, yeah, that's because he's just consistency and it comes along.
It's crazy.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. But
no, good. Right, so let's kind of bridge the gap between so life's starting to change a wee bit. The foot was right into like the party lifestyle, this kind of mad lifestyle. You start thinking, right, I need to give up that. Was it hard to start winding down, or was it easy because of the lifestyle job that you end up getting?
Well, no, do you know what? It was easy because see, when I started going to that boxing gym, I started, it then opened up a different circle for me. Right, that's the beauty of like group coaching, like people coming to AFIT. Like I say, like, and it's, listen, you can go to any group coaching gym mostly and it's going to be the same. I'm not saying like come to AFIT, go to, you know, functional, go to Elation, go to these other gyms. But you're getting another group of friends which are like-minded, and that's fucking powerful, man. So when I started the boxing gym, I started hanging about with Ziggy. I started hanging about with, like, all these boys, and they were already in. That was their lifestyle at this point. It's like so someone comes in AFIT or another gym, and inevitably everyone in there is already doing that for a while. So it's easier to then be like, oh, this is just what you do. Okay, so it's like, oh, I'm going to hang it. Oh, no, but we're doing this. Okay, I'll just do what you do then.
Aye.
So I started hanging about with these boys. And then, you know, the odd occasion I'd be like, I'm not going to go out on Friday night. I've got boxing Saturday morning. Then I would then not drink on the Friday night, go to boxing Saturday morning, and then be like, wow, Saturday morning. Like,
feel great, you could see
yeah,
it.
this is like what. So you can do stuff on a Saturday. You can catch up on your.
Did you have like bad come downs?
Yeah, well, not when I was younger, because you drink fruit and stuff. The older you get, aye. But nah, to be fair, I would just drink through it or whatever else. But
so you start seeing, you're like getting through weekends with
then you're kind of, it's bringing. That's what I always say about going to the gym. Whether it's like I'm saying about the boy Sam there, he's 5-a-side. That hour doesn't just give you. It's not just the hour. It's like you leave that hour of 5-a-sides or the gym, and it gives you clarity on your life, because it's like you've just, and then you can actually look about and be like, oh, I need to sort that. You know, it's, you know,
manage
that
stress.
You finish a session and you start, your head's a bit clearer, so then you can actually assess your life better. So I was coming out of the boxing sessions and stuff with all these boys who were then going to go for a run or something, and then I'm then still tying in with the boys I used to run about with, and they're like, all right, what are you up to? I'm, you know, so I don't know if this specifically happened, but I can only imagine this is the sort of thing that was happening. I can't really remember. I would have probably left a boxing session on a Saturday midday, feeling brilliant, right? So I'd obviously be like, oh, I want to go out with the boys and maybe go and get lunch or something like that. So I'd maybe have to phone the boys and they'd still be on it for the night before. And I'd be like, all right, you want to do something? Oh, no, we're still on it, man. And I'd be like, all right, I'll shoot over. Then I would then, you know, shoot over. This happened on countless occasions. We'd shoot over and see all the boys, and they'd be in a gaff and they'd just be like,
you're trying, it's like you've got a decision. Do I want to catch up with that?
Yeah.
Do I want to do
then I'm coming from the point of view of just came for the gym, I'm feeling great, I walk in there and I go, this looks horrendous. But then it's like you need to step out of it to realise, woof, man, that's not it. And then I always don't want to sound preachy when I'm saying it, because I'm very aware when you're in it. See if someone come up to me when I was doing that stuff and I hadn't done the boxing stuff yet, and someone come up to me, someone like me now, and was like, here, Gerry, like, come on, fucking come into the gym and that. I'd be like, shut up, mate, fuck off. Like, what are you talking about? You need to find it yourself.
You
can't force it. You need to. And then the thing is, I think self-awareness is important. Like, I was always self-aware that this isn't it, but I was waiting for something to be a catalyst to then. Yeah.
So your 20s is like your experience. It's funny how you think you're comparing yourself to doing these deliveries and people are buying flats and you're like, this is shite, I fucked it.
Yeah.
Like, think of the likes of like Sean that's in AFIT, like 20,
Sean
21. So then you think,
yeah,
he's so young, but that's literally how young you were experiencing that.
Exactly.
And you just think life.
That's what I say to the boys. See, so there's obviously some older boys in AFIT that I was pals with when I was young as a boy Kinnaird. That's kind of, we knew each other when we were younger, and then we're kind of doing AFIT now, and then there's like Davey and Doc. I don't know if you know Davey and Doc. They do the High Rocks.
I've seen them. I don't know them
podium
personally.
Guys are dynamite, brilliant guys.
I actually think they were in a race in
Rotterdam. Yeah, they came third. Yeah, they came third.
I think they were in the heat after us.
Aye. So just great guys like Doc's. I don't know, like they're both like 30s and 40s, right? So we obviously they've enjoyed AFIT. Doc's got the Madhouse now. It's brilliant, mate. It's great stuff. But we all talk about it, the kind of older boys, and we go, well, we wouldn't be doing this. Oh fuck, man, that's mad. But it's so we all say to the boys, so. Like Sean, there's loads of them. There's loads of young boys and that, and we'll say just so you know, like, this is good, man. Like, don't doubt this is good. Then maybe there's an aspect where it's like you need to go through all that madness, but I don't know if you do. I don't know. It's a tricky one.
It's hard to see
because I think see me just now, Dale. I think if I had started. See it's a different world now. It's a different world, mate. Because see if I see Sean, I think I'm very similar to Sean. I've said that to Sean. That's why I like Sean. That's why I started kind of following him. But the first time when I seen one of Sean McCarthy's videos, I was like, oh my god, that's me.
Aye.
Like the way he was talking and all that. it's just
Inside my head.
erratic. Oh, I love it, mate. It's so good. I can just relate with what Sean's doing. But I think Gerry of like 20, 21, 22, I just don't know if I couldn't do what I'm doing. I couldn't do what Sean's doing.
But again, when you say, so the biggest catalyst for you at this point is that boxing gym.
Yeah.
We didn't have small group PT, we didn't have AFITs,
didn't
we didn't have any of
aye.
these gyms. And I think this is one of the reasons I like going through your story, because you've created that space for a younger Gerry.
Well, that's basically
really
what it ended up being. I
which is
created.
cool.
I guess it's the same. Do you know what? It kind of goes back to when I was talking about. You said the guy you were becoming, and by all means, it's not the guy I wanted to be. It's the guy I thought I wanted to be. You know, that big guy that you just wouldn't mess with. So like, I created that guy effectively. So now, a bit of an older head, that's what I've tried to create with AFIT. I've created something that I think Gerry of 21 might be like, that's quite cool. And that probably sounds a bit sad, but there is an aspect where I do want AFIT to be cool, because I want to get, genuinely, one of the reasons, I'm sure we'll get into that as well, I know I'm going off on tangents, but one of the reasons I started AFIT, I wanted to save a life. I wanted to save a life of a young man that maybe wanted to take his own life. So in order for me to save a life of a young man in Glasgow, it needs to be quite cool. So like people will be like, oh, you've got that big fancy sign, that's a bit much. And I'm like, no, it's all part of, I'm trying to, everything I do is strategic to try and save a life. And there could be a point now, I mean, to be fair, there has been people that have spoke to me and says like, you have saved my life, but you're never going to fully know. So my goal's still the same: save a life. I'm never gonna find out for sure if I've saved a life. You don't ever want, you don't ever want to know, kind of thing. It's a tricky one.
You don't get like,
you don't ever
okay,
get to
I
find
have
out.
saved 10 people. Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
that's fine. I don't need it.
Byproduct of, that's quite cool, they're working it. Like that wee thing, they've went out a run on a Saturday with it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, there's a positive impact on their quality
There's something
life.
that's going on.
Definitely.
So that's kind of the thought process. So I just think, see if I'd done this sort of stuff younger, I wouldn't be doing that. It's weird. I wouldn't have went through, because like Nelson life, innit? I wouldn't have went to got to where I am now. But then what I said, Sean put up a post yesterday, and it was just talking about how he basically, see what he's realising now. And there's another few boys in AFIT that are doing the same. There's one of the boys I'm hoping to try and get on board at some point. They're getting that realisation now. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be a bad thing for them not to go through, because albeit they've probably still had a bit of madness. But you see Sean's post, he was out fighting and all that and doing all that, and there's another few boys in AFIT the same, but it's probably more condensed into like a year period, which is perfect. That's all you need. I do think there's an aspect we need a bit of chaos of a year or two.
Experience it, so you know what you're talking about.
So you can dip in and go, I don't need that, cool, I'm out. Whereas my experience of that little section was like 5-6 years, which is when it starts getting dodgy, because then it starts becoming a lifestyle.
It pulls you in. You can't. The climb outs.
The climb outs. Yeah. So I got to the point when I was 30, and then I was just like, well, that's when it came to a head for me. When I was like, right, we'll get to that. So sorry.
No, it's cool. So let's just briefly touch on. So life starts changing better. Then you're going through changing your environment, your circle. Going into like a big boy job, if you want to call it that. That's how I viewed it before.
Yeah, it's
I laugh at myself. I'm like, man, I was such a gimp in that workplace. It's like, I know I could do that job with my eyes shut now.
I know,
and not have the same stresses, but it consumed me.
Oh, it consumed, big time.
Like, because you were a leader as well, weren't you? Like a senior manager.
Yes, I was a site operations manager.
I had a similar role, and it's like you just think it's everything. You think everything in life.
Mental.
Dealing with the sick lines, the managing the team, getting results, and you're just on calls. And I was just like, so hearing your story on it, like we'll not spend too much time on it, but essentially went into that. Yeah. Would that feel good landing that job first? Did you feel like?
I felt brilliant, mate.
Aye.
I felt
my
so
God,
good.
money,
mate, I couldn't believe it, man.
Job for life.
Because when I went to uni, so I've not gone here, but I left uni with a 2-2. It was just a 2-2 as well. I think technically it was a third, but because of my dissertation was just something, it was like half a mark between a third and a 2-2. So I was really on the line. The person I was dealing with, the tutor kind of person, was like, oh, you're on edge here, Gerry. You can, if I get a third, I've wasted 4 years.
This is where I had a big imposter syndrome. Like all my mates went to uni, friends went to uni. When I met Jill, so I met Jill when I was 18. She was at uni, all her friends were at uni. I felt like that dumbass. I don't know what you're talking about now. So was a 3 like?
Okay, sorry. I'm just.
So that's like a mark that's not going to land you a job. Basically,
so basically, you see people get like a first. So see when it comes to the end of the year, when people start getting the post
first
up
and
there.
2-1s and
Yeah,
all that,
first
right.
and 2-1.
Right,
Right,
I've
that's like
seen
your A and B, I think.
Right.
I'm pure talking like I know.
We're just sitting
Yeah,
shooting
just
the
like a
shit.
couple of dates, aye. Like that's like an A and a B, and then a 2-2 is like a C,
Right.
and then a third is like a D.
Right.
I think. Fuck knows, mate.
But
I was
essentially
basically-
that third's
you know,
not
so
gonna
imagine
get
you're
a
going to get a
job.
job and you go, I've got a B, my degree's a B, or I've got a C. Because I know when you leave uni, it's just the way it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? You graduate uni along with another 200 people. I don't know the numbers, right? And so I was at Glasgow, whereas like Strathclyde uni is the same. So you've got all these people leaving the uni at the same time with a graduate job, going for jobs. So inevitably the jobs are going to go, okay, we'll take everyone with our first and everyone with our 2-1. 2-2s, we'll see what happens. We're not really asked about them. They can just go to the back of the line. So I was applying for jobs with a 2-2. Luckily I got the 2-2 because the tutor was like, you know, I kind of like, we'll just fling you onto a, it was like, if you weren't a kind of good guy, Gerry would put you a third, but you've been a kind of no problem guy. So I was going for jobs, and then it was getting to like a year later. So I got a degree in mechanical engineering because I was good at maths. I was terrible at everything else, but my maths always kind of see me through. And talking about the cartoonist stuff, see design.
Ah, right.
I was
Okay.
good at
I was going to
design.
say like why.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
that kind of always pulled me up. I'd fail most other stuff. I mean, albeit engineering's a lot of maths anyway, but there was aspects of maths I wasn't good at. There was just certain aspects I was good at, which always pulled me up. And then the design stuff, I'd always be like A's and like design and
That creativity
stuff.
could thrive.
So as people always say, oh, it's mad that you got an engineering degree. It's like, I know why. No, I'm not playing myself down, but it was a 2-2, so it wasn't great, especially in engineering. Such a competitive industry. I was like, yeah, it's just because I was quite good at maths and I was good at drawing and I was quite creative with stuff.
Got you.
Yeah, so I
applying
was
for
then
jobs,
going, I was going for jobs, but I was going for engineering jobs. But because I had a 2-2, like, you're just at the back of the pile. They probably even take your application. That's probably how they do it. They go first.
Did you ever do any hiring in the job?
In my job? Aye,
so what's it like? You're like, fuck man, I've got 100 applications.
Yeah,
to look
that's
through
it.
and you're like,
100%.
Yeah, that one looks alright.
I ended up. I would be the interviewing manager for like some really high flight. I would be like quite a high. So see, like I became the guy that you'd going to be pure nervous about. I was end up being that guy. So I was always great with interviews because I'm saying I like to think I was always great because I was very aware of
how you put yourself in the
how
shoes.
you're feeling. So people always. It was always one thing in my job. Like I was quite a good manager. I like to think anyway. Yeah. So I basically went to get engineering jobs. Just wasn't getting interviews, and it was coming a year round without having a job. So I was still. I think I wasn't even working more. I think I was just still doing Tony's deliveries at that point. And the problem is, see, when you get to like a year later and you've still not got a job, the next graduates come out and then it was just flood. It's like a high rocks. So, you come out the race, you're doing a lap, and then the
next wave of people going, they're so fast.
And you just you hit a wall. So people were telling me like, I think it was my sister was saying like, you need to get a job within the next 2 months because the graduates come out, and I was like, oh fuck, right, okay. So I just reverted away from engineering and all these. I had all these things in my head of like, I'm going to go and work in oil and gas, and I'm going to get so much money, and I'm going to move to Qatar and whatever. And I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? And it was like I just applied for anything really, a graduate job. So I ended up applying for I basically got a job in logistics.
Right.
So it was a graduate manager job in logistics, and I didn't know what logistics was. I told the name, but I thought it was something to do with maths. It sounds like a maths sort of word. And then, not sure enough, it was like deliveries, and it's a horrible industry. But in my opinion, it's just a hard. You know what? It's a hard industry to work in because everything's to do with time.
It's moving.
And like, everyone wants something in time. You know, it's like Hermes
it's a supply chain and all that.
Yeah,
sort of stuff,
supply chain. So we were running the full supply chain, and it's like your delivery runs late. For Amazon, you're like fucking hell, you're kicking up fuss. But we had a contract where like I'm not saying the names of the thing, but massive UK like company, and see if deliveries weren't on time, they soon let you know, because it was like a multi-million pound contract. So like they want to try and fine you because they want everything's money, so they want to squeeze the money. So like you just get as a logistics arm, you just get shat on because you can't win because they're the customer. They want everything yesterday, but you can only
and the expectations.
So expectations. So see me as a site operations manager. Well, I eventually moved to a site operations manager. Like you just can't win. Honestly, mate, you can't.
Putting
It's
out
not a
fires,
job because inevitably, if you do your job right, you do. Yeah, it came. What do you want? Delivery came on time.
You got your wage this month.
Like, do you know what? That's what it's like though. So imagine like if you're expecting a delivery of new shoes before a race, if they come on time, it's like, oh, good. you know, but if they're late, it's like all hell
I want a
breaks
refund
loose.
for my High Rocks ticket.
Yeah, so it's just like, it was a horrible sort of environment to work in.
Did what was like some of the bigger lessons then for that? Did you?
I'll tell you one see an epiphany moment for me, right? This is one I always talk about with the boys. So there was a guy, I'm not going to use names, right? Because there was certain things that happened in my work that's caused me to get to the point where I was ready to just check out. So there was great people in the work. Right? So I ended up working up to, I ended up, I'll just fast forward this, but I basically worked up here as a graduate job for a year. Then I get kind of fast tracked on the graduate scheme because I was quite good. Yeah, I was quite good. It's a people job, so
it's
you know
always,
it kind of suits me. Like there's aspects of the job that thingy, but managing
a wee
people,
bit of politics, isn't it?
yeah. Again, it's all to do with
friendly.
like, yeah. See my upbringing. I've got a lot. I can speak to. I can speak to someone that's, you know, you're classed as like the riff-raff, you know, someone just took the jail, and I can speak to someone that's a CEO, and then I can anyone in between. I've spoke to
There's no social awkwardness on that.
So from a young age, I can speak to people, so that then helps me in the management, right? So yeah, I basically went down south. I got rolled off the graduate scheme early because they were like, this guy's pretty good down south. See if you put him in with the big fish down there and see if he handles it. And then I was running like a £4 million contract around there. I was a project manager down there. And I was running that contract, and then they were like, "I said, you're good. Like, we want to put you back up to Scotland." And eventually, I was going to be tipped to be, it's all easy to say in it, but I was tipped to be pretty good within the thing. But this whole time, I fucking hated it, mate. Like the people aspect, it's like I enjoyed. It got me through my day talking to people and stuff, but everything else, the stress of stuff, it wasn't for me.
You take it home, don't you?
It's like you said. It's some of this stuff. It's like, they make it like it's life or death. The way they talk to you, like your superiors will talk to you like, oh, this needs to be done, and I'm like, when I first started, I was like, it's not that big a deal. It's only I'll not even say what the product was, but it's only like a t-shirt or not a t-shirt. It's bigger volume. Like it's only a truck of t-shirts. Like they're acting like it's a heart, a human heart. You know, so I was like, but then, so that was my initial thought when I first went in the job. But then over time, they make you.
Just consider your life,
They make you feel like it's a human heart. They make it feel like this is like the most important thing in the world, Gerry. If this doesn't happen, and then inevitably I start taking on that burden of the stress. So come back up here, then worked up. So I worked up to a kind of senior role. I probably had different shifts and stuff. Probably had like 20 managers under me, and then a few team leaders under them, and then like a workforce of like 400-500, and then there's like drivers and stuff and that. So it was quite a big operation that I was part of. There was 2-3 other it was a 24-hour operation between me and 3 other guys, so 8-3, so 3 of us, that day shift, back shift and night shift, so we basically ran it all. And there was, so one of my managers, right, he was an older guy. Well, all my managers were all older. I was young, so like they were all like my dad's age and that, right? And it was just a common theme in my workplace. I think it's the same in any workplace. Retirement was such a buzzword. Pension, retirement, pension.
Can't wait to retire.
Can't wait to retire and all that, right? And obviously I'm just in the job, so
20 years of service, 30 years of
all
service.
that sort of like, what's your final salary, pension and stuff like that. So me, in terms of like, as a, late 20s guy, like, it's nothing I've really thought about before. And it just, for the nature of my job, there was no one else younger. Because I fast-tracked myself through the graduate scheme, like, I was in the mixed circles of guys that were like in their 40s and 50s, and they did treat me with respect as well, because I kind of demanded it to an extent. So they would speak to me on the level of like just like a grown man. So I just found this trend of like retirement, pension, the importance of it, and
start
all that.
thinking about it.
Yeah. So they were like, and I could see it in them. By this point, I started reading books and that, so I was a bit more aware of just.
So I had that in like. Yeah, I've heard you talk about this a couple of times, like certain books and the different parts that you've taken from books. What made you read a book? Like, can you remember?
It was
so this is like your first self-development journey.
Yeah, so see when I first went into this graduate job up in, I'll not say the area. It's just in the off chance we get to this. There's things that happen later I can't really touch on. Well, I can touch on, but I just can't mention names. But when I first went up to this site, I was still like, I was still getting on a bit of madness. I was still like, I wasn't anywhere near as bad as I was when I was younger. I wasn't out to fight. Well, if I fight, I wasn't out fighting and stuff like that. No, but I was still a bit broken. Still trying to figure myself out with the drinking that. and that then was difficult with the job as well. So you've got the anxiety and all that of like then I was experiencing like anxiety come downs and everything else. As a result of that, I was quite a short tempered person. So I was maybe quite a hothead depending on the situation. And I was just trying to figure myself out. And then there was a guy that worked in there. He was just worked at like reception in the work. And I was just kind of drawn towards him. I just thought he was just a very calming guy to be around. He was very nice to, people like that. You just think, I like talking to you. Like you seem like, again, this is a kind of wise thing. Some older people, like older women, older guys, you've got some of a wiseness to them. So I just always spoke to this guy, and he just, and anyway, later on, maybe, I don't know, a few months later, someone referenced this guy and was like, such and such that works in reception. I goes, he's a proper sound guy, isn't he? Proper nice guy, man. Like, it's good, nice talking to him. And he goes, do you know he used to be scatty? Like, proper jailbait guy, like, see the way he is now, Gerry, because they all knew him, like, from, like, out with the work and that. He was like, see what he's like now? Different guy. And I was like, wow, seriously? And he goes, but he seems like so nice. And they were showing me photos of him and telling me stuff about things he'd done when he was younger. And I was like, wow, I'd never thought that, man. Proper scatty, a guy you don't want to know, like a guy you don't want to meet, you know what I mean? And I was like, nah, no way. I can't get it in my head. So I basically went up to him one time and I says, have you done X, Y, Z? And are you like, I don't get it. And he was like, Gerry, you know, it's life, innit? Sometimes you just, it's all part of the journey and stuff. And I was like, wow, seriously, aye? And then I was like, how did you go for that to that? How did you go for that mad guy to then the way you are now? Because like, then I started going like, it's such a command. He did a silent respect thing going on that I've always kind of had throughout my life with my dad and my gran and my aunties and uncles. So there was something I connected with this guy, and basically he said to me, as I said, I really struggle with just, I go for 0 to 60, like just blow up and I'm maybe getting a fight or getting an argument and stuff. And he went, you need to be more present. So I was like, what does that mean? And he was like, you need to be more present, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I obviously know now, so I've been like, so Eckhart Tolle basically. So he basically said to me, go and read this book by a guy called Eckhart Tolle. It's called Be Here Now. And I was like, all right. He goes, listen, the language is a bit mad, Gerry, but just like you'll get an underlying thing of what he's trying to say. It's a bit woo-woo. His whole story is basically he was struggling with stuff for whatever reason. I don't know the full background of it, but he was basically sitting on a bench one day. I think he was like early mid-20s, and he basically thought, I don't want to be here anymore. Basically, just wanted to kill himself, right? And he was repeating in his head, I can't live with myself anymore. So that's why he was wanting to basically kill himself. And then he repeated it in his head. It's like he was trying to give himself like an excuse for like, I just can't live with myself anymore. Like that's why I need to just end it. And then the more he repeated it, he realised like, I can't live with myself. And then he felt as if there was a fragmentation there of like I and self. And then people listen to that and go, it's just the way people speak. That's just language. That's just what it is. But he just thought there was something to that. It's as if, it's like this, because we all have thoughts in our head. People say if you think out loud, if we all thought out loud, we'd all be psychopaths or something. It's like we're all mental, but most people just don't say their words out loud. So, he just felt as if like there is two voices in your head to an extent. And then he was then looking for the gap between it, which then is a gap between like, okay, that's voice is telling me to do something, and that's the voice of reasoning or whatever. He wasn't sure, but he basically went, there's something there. And then from that, he basically walked off the bench and he started doing research, and he just started, I think it maybe gave him purpose as well. And then from that, he's realised that there is something going on in the head. And then, from that, so then when I got to the point where I was like, sure, we'll go back to all that, but I did get to the point where I was like, right, I'm done here. Like, this life is, like, effectively, we said it earlier on, like, if I'm living for retirement, right, which everyone is, I've got like 40 years between now and retirement, and my life right now is miserable, and there's not really any, it's not going to get any better, and that's, I don't even think I was being pessimistic. I genuinely just thought, if I'm going to be doing this, like and what I was doing in my work was I was looking at people, in the job higher up from me, so I was looking at my potential,
like the progression ladder,
right?
Yeah.
And I would talk to those people in the higher jobs, and I would talk to them when I leave. I would always be that kind of person. Like I'm like, even my work and like senior conversations, like I would always bring it quite just chill. I don't need to be all serious all the time. Like it's just not, even as a manager, I was always quite. Sometimes you go into a site and it's like, oh fuck, there's such and such. That was my role. Like, I was that level, but I used to go on site and be like, don't do that. I'm not the guy. I'm cool, man. Just get your shit done. As long as you're working, I don't give a fuck, right? So I was that kind of guy. So I would speak to these senior managers on a level of just like, right, talk to me, man. And they were all fucking miserable and all. They were all drinking and then late night stress, but like amplified, right? And one of the guys that I was, he was my superior at the time. This is actually when I was down south. I basically just said to him, like, I was unhappy down there in that job as well. Just the nature of logistics. But I basically said to him one time, like, mate, you're fucking miserable. Like, and I talked to him I was like, you're fucking miserable, man. And he was like, no, I know. And then he was just like, and he was like, he was tired and stressed and whatever else, and he had his daughter's birthday and all this sort of stuff, right? And I was like, I was seeing myself as him, right? Aye. So at that time I was talking about trying to leave the work. This was when I was down south, because I was just like, no, this isn't for me. And then he basically said to me, oh, Gerry, you're going to go far. Like, everyone in the business, not everyone, but he says a lot of people in the business know about you because they think you've got a potential to be really good. So, like, trust me, there's conversations going on in the background. And then they eventually put me up to Scotland. And he was like, just trust me, like, you can go far in this business, and it makes it all worth it. And I went, but how does it make it worth it? I wasn't taking it at face value. That's the thing with some, like, I noticed in the graduate job, there was a lot of graduates in that. And I get it, as a kind of, I was probably a bit of an older graduate as well. So if someone said something, I wouldn't just be like, oh, right, cool. So he said, oh, trust me, Gerry, you're going to go far, it'll be worth it. I goes, how? Tell me how it's be worth it. And he goes, well, you mean you're going to get a nice car. I already had a company car, but you get a different level company car. It was like, he had a Range Rover Sport or something. He was like, you got a Range Rover Sport. He goes, Gerry, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm on like 150 grand a year. And I was like, and he thought that would impress me. And I went, you are fucking miserable, mate.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, look at you, man.
The point,
I was like, don't. I appreciate what you're trying to do. But just because you've lived that life doesn't mean you don't be. And he wasn't trying to force me into it. He was doing it from a good place. Because see, for him, it's probably all he saw as a future. Like, so he's seen for me, like, he's probably seen the same things I was seeing. I'm in this job now. I've not got any other qualifications. It's on my CV. Like, I need to basically stay in this sort of job role. What's the alternative?
So the corporate trap.
Yeah, the corporate trap. So you see the thought of opening a gym. Nah, no way.
Aye, didn't even.
Like, see the thought of doing what I'm doing now.
Aye.
Mate, honestly, it couldn't even.
I'd be so like, far beyond.
So see if I see myself, it's probably from that stage, probably 7 years on, but from when I quit my job to 5 years now, I just couldn't even fathom how I would do it.
Yeah. Because like you run that by anyone you're speaking to, they're like, "What are you talking about?
Yeah,
you're mental. You can't do that."
So when I was in this same conversation with that guy, and he's a great guy, I still chat to him on Facebook and that some now and again, and he was like, "What would you do?" And I was basically, "I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to go back up to Scotland." And he goes, "But what would you do, Gerry?" And I was like, "I would fucking go back and work at Morrison's." At this point, I'm like 29, and I'm on. I don't know, I was floating about the 40 grand mark. I must have been, I can't remember the age. It was 29, 30, whatever, right, sort of time. And I was like, I'll go back up and work at Morrison's. You know, I was that beating down my life. And he was like, Gerry, you can't do that, man. That's his typical reaction, isn't it? He was like, Gerry, come on, fuck, man. You're not going to go up there and work in Morrison's, the checkouts. Be honest with yourself here. But, you know, it was a count for 11 place as well.
Yeah.
But it was like, stop that. You're going to be a waster going up. And I was like, the happiest time of my life, albeit I was younger than that as well, but I just want to be...
That's the way you remember
yeah,
them.
I was like, I just want to be fucking happy. And then he was like, I know, but you know, what if you're going to... what if like you're going to settle down kids and get a mortgage? And I was like, see, the thing is, see all that stuff? See, if I was to start a family and have kids, I don't want to start a family and have kids the way I am as a person, because I'm a fucking miserable person right now. I wouldn't bestow that on anyone. So then he was like, and I felt quite bad because see, when I said that to him, he was like split up with his wife and his daughter, his daughter now and again. And see, when I said that to him, you could see the change in his face, and then he went, you know what, you're fucking right, Gerry. He went, you're so fucking right. He goes, because that's probably where I'm at now. He was basically going up the road to just get a bottle of wine. Yeah, even back then, there's wee points of like having that in my head to like, because he was basically saying, I'm going up the road tonight to have a bottle of wine. And I was like, but you're back in here at 6 tomorrow morning. And then by this point, it was like 7 at night. And he was like, Gerry, I need to have a bottle of wine to get to sleep.
Yeah.
So like, even back then, I was going, no, that's not it. Like, I was all these kind of factors. So, so from that, then I came back up I've got the job in Scotland. So the thing is, he's then
see.
went back to someone in head office and went, look, Gerry Kennedy's on the like looking to quit. So then they've come back to me and then they've offered me more money and then go up to Scotland and it's a different job role. You're a bit more out and about and stuff. And I was like, right. But then the alternative, it's like, am I going to go to Morrison's? I'm all being all bravado at times. Like, was I actually going to do it? Probably not. I'd like to have done it. So
all talk type of thing.
Yeah, it's just all talk. So then when I eventually got the offer, I was like, at least I'm back close at home. So at least I'm with my pals then. So at least if I'm miserable, at least 2 days a week. At the weekend, I'm with my pals, so and I can see my mum and dad and that through the week and stuff. I was like, maybe the stress won't be as bad, but inevitably I went up to a job which is a higher stress. So it wasn't as bad because I was at home, but then it was worse because it was a higher.
There's
job.
more pressure and more responsibilities and all that.
Responsibilities.
So I'll just do like a week in case you're wondering what the hell's happening with the story. The SIM card ran out there. Don't know where it ran out, but basically at this point we're kind of getting on to the part of your story where you've been on the journey, but you've experienced bouts of depression.
Yeah.
But it hits pretty hard towards the back end to almost, pretty much breaking point.
Yeah, so effectively what happened was, so when I really knew I was going through something is because, like I say, I was very matter of fact about, I wasn't at the point where I was like, I want to kill myself. I wasn't like that, right? I just knew I was every day I woke up, it was just like, fuck, okay.
Was it dread or was it like...
It was like a grey, I think it's Abraham Lincoln talks about it, it's like the black dog or something, the grey dog, it just followed him about. It's like a cloud, it was something that I always just felt, and people were starting to notice it, like, my mum and that, they were all saying to my sisters and that, like, they're like, you don't seem yourself. You're just like, I felt like, see the way I am now, that's the way that's always been my potential to be quite a... Yeah, I'm quite a happy guy. I know you can't be happy all the time, but I'm always quite like positive and stuff. But that job and just, do you know what? I could have been in a different job. It'd been the same. I think it's just that environment of people. No one's. You're rarely going to a workplace and anyone's happy. So I think I'm the kind of person that feels emotions really strong. I think I'm a bit of a sponge, emotional sponge that way. So see if I'm with people that are buzzing and happy, like wow, I'm there for it. I can be the one that's buzzing and happy. If I'm with a group of people that's like just hating life, and I'm hating life, man. I'm like solidarity.
So another part of your story where your environment shifted in a way.
Environment shifted. So basically, I just remember one time. I was back up in Scotland. So this is when it's kind of come into the head because I was back up in Scotland. Things have changed. Like, I was miserable. See, from like uni onwards, I just wasn't happy in life, right? Then it just started kind of escalating because I would get to a point and go, I'm not happy just now, but I'll get to that and I'll probably be all right. And then it actually just got worse. So that's what it came to. It started getting worse because the older I was getting, then the more I was doing things, I was like, no, surely if I get that much a year, surely that's going to be it and it's going to start clicking.
It just hit harder.
Yeah, you just see people talking about, you do see it in social media now, talking about people like, if you've got mental health problems, just do this and, boom. See the thing is with mental health. Sorry, mate, I know I'm going off the tangent.
No, I think
it's an important point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something that I was always aware of when I was struggling. And the thing is, Dale, I still struggle, mate. Like, see when and I get it a lot. Some of it's come from a good place, and it's not to say you need to struggle with mental health to then talk about it. I don't mean that at all. But I do see some people, and this is what alienated me to the point where I started AFIT. I would, mental health was kind of spoken about. And they would go, if you're struggling with your mental health, you just need to do this and that, and then, you'll be fine. And so it makes it sound like, I'll be fine. So, like, I'll do this and that, and then the rest of life, I'll be happy again. Like, mate, I've got my shit together now, right? I'm living my dream right now. And there's a fair chance I'll wake up tomorrow and I don't want to go to bed. It's not like I'll be doing everything perfect. I think I've just got something. Maybe there's an argument, maybe Gerry, you should go and get antidepressants, or, maybe there's a medicinal thing you could go and do for that, but no, I just manage it. I manage it, man. Now I'm aware of it, and I don't know if I would really say techniques. It's just like reading books and awareness and just getting older.
Was the sort of self-improvement journey pretty pivotal to that then? Or
yeah, see the thing is with the self-improvement stuff, like for me it was more like, it probably was a bit more woo-woo stuff. Like I get, the be here now stuff and then being present's not really woo-woo, but it wasn't like I'd done anything actionable. I wasn't like like something I'm trying to work on now is to... Like, I think you get, no, I don't say you get over mental health issues, but you start managing them either from doing a more actionable approach, you know, like Google get your life in order and structure, or maybe there is something to be said for the woo-woo stuff, because I genuinely, like, I was reading books on the ego, and some of the language in that's fucking mental. Like I read books on like a book called Shambhala. It's about Tibetan warrior monks, and I'm up for anything, mate. See, in terms of just, I was to the point where I need my brain fixed, because I'll just read anything. I was reading all sorts of books, and for me, I kind of connected with the whole kind of spiritual sort of stuff, like that stuff we can touch on it again. It's about a long podcast, mate, fucking hell.
Right.
But like, so that so sorry, what was this? What was that?
No, I was just saying the book's been a big part of your spiritual,
so
a big part of your sort of changing your outlook towards what you want to do.
Yeah.
You mentioned like purpose and that sort of stuff. Did you understand what that meant, or do you think your purpose was tied to hit this milestone in life,
with the purpose
achieve this
thing,
job?
The purpose thing, it's strange, because even I look back, I speak to Sean McCarthy's a great example of it, because he's doing so well and he's like kind of manifesting his life. But it's like, my purpose, I always felt like there was something not even greater for me or better for me or anything like that. I just always felt like, get back to being yourself, and then it will start working. Like, so I was always very conscious. I was the more I was going on in life, the further I was getting away from, like, I guess that Eckhart Tolle talks about the source, like you as a person, like your soul, like your soul, and like
beat down.
I was just getting beat down. I just felt like I was a different person. So I was very aware, like, I need to get back to just being myself. I like to think I'm a good person. I know it's easy for people to say, but I do think I've got always good intention. I'm a good person. I've been really well brought up. So it's like, if I can just be myself, I think something will work out, because it's a trend I found in my job. See, I've talked about I was doing so well, but then people might go like, but you said you were fucking, how can you be doing so well in the job if you're so miserable? But like, it's a people aspect. I was being myself with the people, and it's management. It was other stuff I didn't really like. So whenever I'd done monthly reviews or 6 monthly reviews, I'd go in and my boss would be like, how you think you're finding it? But I'm struggling, blah, blah, blah. And they go, Gerry, everyone loves you. Like, you're really, you can command, like, not command is not the right word, but like, when you're on shift, everyone works and everyone gets on, and it's quite a nice place to be. And then the other shift comes in, it's different.
Something to be said about being liked, though, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
just
being
a
liked,
very valuable skill.
And it's not like, see the thing as well, though, it's like, it's not even as if like I want to be liked, because if I don't like someone, then you're out. I just don't waste time on them. So I don't go in. I'm very like, some people are kind of enjoying the AFIT, and I've just been like, nah, you're not it. Just to come along and start acting like a ticket, swaggering about. I'll just pull them aside and go like, you probably better find another gym, because it's not going to work in here. And then, like, so I'm very much like that. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. See, if I like to think I'm a good gauge of character. Like, I genuinely think you, even the podcast, I've been asked to go on a lot of podcasts. And when I seen you in Madrid, I think you said you followed AFIT.
Yeah.
And then when I was speaking to you in Gerry, and I was like, no, I said about that guy in my work, I was like, that's something nice. I just like the vibe. I like your sort of energy. I go off of that. I go off energy and like how I feel and stuff like that. So I think there's always been an underlying thing that I just need to get back to myself, because whenever I'm being myself, so in my job, there was a trend of like, so what was getting me promotions in my job was when I was being myself.
Your roots.
So like, I used to always say to them, some of the bosses, they'd be like, whenever they'd say, I'm not trying to big myself up when I'm saying all stuff about the big, it just gives you an idea, like, see what I'm saying about I was getting promotions and stuff. The underlying thing I was started to realise was when they were saying like, I'm a bit different from other people in terms of like, because people would come in for a graduate job and it'd be like numbers and like, oh yeah, I've learnt this in uni and stuff.
How many times you see in coaching?
Yeah, it's
the
like
big words,
big
and
words and all that, right?
Nah, like
so
relatable experience.
Yeah, I've always been like, and again, because obviously that thing with my dad, like, whenever I was in a work environment, it's like I'd be doing a site walk, like, see, no matter who you were, I would speak to you the same. I didn't care. See, when people came from down south, like, they'd come up and like chartered planes and stuff. See, when I spoke to them, I wouldn't speak to them any different. I would speak to them and see if they expect. I think that's what people quite liked about me, because when people come in and be shitting themselves from like this Mr. X, if Mr. X spoke to me in any sort of way, I would say to him, don't speak to me like that. I don't care. I would literally say to them like, I appreciate I'm a graduate, but do not speak to me like that. Whereas they'd speak to someone in a lower position and be like, oh, here, go and thingy. There was one time, I don't know if he was a CEO, but he was a really high level guy, and not even my work. He was from the other the people that the contract, right? And he came in and he said to me like, said something like, I was in as part of a networking thing for my graduate job. Basically, like, come in and you can sit with the big wigs and that, right? And then they basically said, one of this guy, he was just a fucking arsehole. He was like, I don't know what, but crazy money he's on, right, as well. And he went, oh, we need is there anyone in here, a graduate, to go and get some tea or something? And then just pure dead dismissive. And then my boss, who was up with me, was like, Gerry, go and thingy. And I went, no, I'm a fucking graduate. I was like, I'm not going to get tea. And then the guy was like, what, excuse me? Are you a graduate in this company? I said, yeah, but I'm not, like, so he's like the boss of the boss. And then I was like, yeah. And he goes, go make me a cup of tea. I goes, I don't know how to make tea, mate. And then I just had a back and forth with this guy, and my boss was saying to me, Gerry, relax. And I was like, no, speak to me like I'm a person. Don't speak to me like that.
Because one of your values that you hold close.
Yeah, I don't care if you're a CEO or you're a janitor. You speak to me like a person. And that's what I found in the job as well. I struggled with when I was getting higher up. Like I was doing a site tour one time, and then I was, like you walk about the site and everyone's like, oh shit, there's such and such walking about. And I went to pick up a bit of rubbish. This is my first time. This is one of my first walk rounds as a site operation manager. And my boss was with me, and she showed me around, and I went to pick up a bit of rubbish, and she was like, throw that back in the floor, Gerry. And I was like, why? And she went, that's for the cleaners to do.
Old school leadership.
Yeah, she said, you can't be seen to pick, you're a fucking site operation manager. You cannot be seen to pick up rubbish. And I was like, no offence, but I'm picking up the fucking rubbish. Like it's a risk on the. It was I'm saying rubbish. It was like probably a bit of wrapping. It could have thingied a truck. And then so we finished the walk round, and I says to it, it was one of my first times with that boss, and I says, listen, see that what happened out there? That's not happening again with me. Speak to me like a person. And then so they actually always quite liked it. They didn't like getting called out in it. But listen, I'm pure talking like I was like, oh, bravado. I was genuinely, I wasn't doing it to try to show off. I was just like, see if you're going to like. I just don't stand for it. I don't see. I think
that's like a testament to your upbringing though as well, and like seeing your dad's integrity, like that's bleeding over to you, and why your dad, I guess, is a role model in your life and all that sort of stuff. It bleeds through. Like,
so then see the trend was what I found when I was getting things like that CEO guy. It turns out he then put a word into our boss on the other side of the company, and that's how it started becoming like, who is that guy? Who's this guy that's just like, whatever. So then from that, I started when I was in monthly reviews and stuff. The trend was the way you are as a person is what's getting you further in the thing, right? And I remember one of the reviews I said to they said something like, because as part of the graduate scheme, you would go to like how to talk. You'd like how to do a meeting. It was fucking mental.
It's crazy.
It's mental. It's like, this is how you speak to a room. This is how you speak to someone in authority. This is how you speak to someone in a like. And we'd go to these things as part of the graduate scheme, like learning. And I'd be like, this is just common sense. But then they would be saying stuff, and I'd go, oh, I do that subconsciously. To be a
it's like,
build rapport.
We need to learn this stuff.
Yeah, we need to learn this. It's not just common sense.
Human behaviour.
So yeah, one of my reviews, one of the bosses said to me like, so what did you do at uni? Because you must be something in there that you've the conversation, you're good at people stuff. And I went, that's got nothing to do with you. That's my family. That's how I've been brought up. That's got nothing to do with. Then I started to realise I've done all this through life, stressing about getting uni stuff, and my biggest skill all along has been my upbringing and me as a person. So then that's probably then turboed me more to then I'm losing that the longer I go in this job, because they're actually trying to beat me. They liked it, but they're
morphing you into.
So I'm saying, like, albeit when an occasion when the bosses said to me like, if they ever spoke down to me, and I didn't mind getting told what to do. It was the manner they spoke to me. So if you spoke to me a certain way, I'd tell you. And so they did like it, but they also were like, yeah, we like what you're doing, but fucking just watch what you're doing, no, relax. So then they started trying to beat me down slightly. And then they got to a point in my work where like, so like everyone below, like the kind of warehouse staff and that, like, were like, it's like you said, it's like an old school approach to management. I came in like I wasn't trying to ruffle feathers. I was just coming being myself. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't trying to fucking show off or anything. I was just being myself. And the people on the floor started being like, we like this guy. I'm very up here talking myself up.
No,
I
can understand
where
where
I'm
you're
coming from. I'm not trying to talk like, oh, I'm amazing or anything. But it's just like, there was a kind of change dynamic on the work, because they were like, oh, that's like workers on the floor were going like, this guy talks to us with respect. Also, you can be a high up manager and talk to us like human beings. Like,
and the byproduct, which was never your intention, was when you're on that rotation of you being the leader, like the output's better, and it's the likability, and it's like, don't want to let Gerry down. It becomes a different way.
Because I would always fight the battles for them. That's the thing when it came to stuff like. Yeah, just tedious things.
And these are all traits that you're thinking like, fuck, I'm stuck in this logistic world.
Yeah.
And for somebody, it'd be great, somebody out with that in the fitness space to come and go, here, these are all great traits to
Yeah,
running your own gym, but
yeah.
you it's so
Aye.
like a disconnect to the character that you think that you need to
I
become
know,
to
you
become
don't
a
realise
gym
that's
owner or
what you need to
whatever.
do that.
Aye, it's crazy.
Aye.
So when does the seed go of like
So basically, sorry, I'll get to this because I think that's what you asked previously, right? So basically, I get put in a position in my work. This is the stuff I can't really go into great detail with, right? But I basically, because I would deal with stuff, I would deal with like dismissals effectively, and
disciplinary cases,
and I would just tend to be the guy that it goes to, the kind of higher level guy. Basically, something happened in the work, and it got escalated to me. I seen what it was, and I said, no, I'm not, that's not happening. And then basically, there's a lot going on, mate, to be honest. There's a lot of moving parts of this, right, which I can't really touch on. But basically, I just went, I basically got told, right, sack this guy. Right. And I was like, no, I'm not sacking that. If that's just what's happened, then I don't like that. And then I knew of relationships in the work and
it's very political and
friends and managers were friends with people on the floor, and it was just a fucking shit show. Right. So where I worked, I wasn't from that area, so everyone where I worked was from the area. So it was like grandfathers, fathers, sons. It was a whole
like a cult.
It was a whole different world, right? So basically, something get put on my table, and I was like, even my manager that put it to me was like, "Oh, I don't like this. And then I was like, right, okay, put it to me then, let me deal with it. And then I took it, and I was like, well, I don't like this at all. And then basically, long story short, I got told this guy's out. And I basically went, nah, that guy's not out. This isn't happening on my watch. And from there, it was just that was it, mate. It just went downhill for there because I was getting pressure from like, again, I can't really get into it because it still bubbles over into my life now a wee bit. But basically, because of this decision I was going to make, it affected fucking everything.
Right.
I'm talking like the contracts on the line with this decision. Right, it was mental. And I wasn't doing it because I was like, nah. It was just the way I was a person. I was like, no, I don't care if this person is one person. It doesn't matter. But if me not dismissing this guy means a shit show for everyone else, then it's a shit show for everyone else. And I'm going to be part of that storm, and it's going to be a fucking mess. But I'm not dismissing this guy. I don't care. And then it's like, oh, but he's only on, like, he's only a fucking. No, he's only one guy. This makes it easier. Just get rid of him. And I was just like, nah, I'm not. I can't. And then I was literally like, I could fucking cry now about it, mate. It was so. I was like, what they were trying to do was just fucking in my head. I went up and I was saying it to my mum and dad. I was like, I'm getting told to do this. Even that in itself is a fucking right. You know yourself, mate. That's not procedure. So I was going up the road with my mum and dad going like, and I would never confide my mum and dad with stuff like that. I mean, I would speak to them about stuff, but it wasn't that sort of way. I basically went up the road one time, I was like, I'm getting told to do this, and I think it's going to affect my future if I don't do it. And then I went, this is what's happened, blah, blah, blah. And mum and dad went, I mean, I could fucking burst out crying and talk about it, man. My dad basically said to me that if you sack him, that's not the boy I raised. And I was like, right, fuck. And I knew that was the case. And he went, that guy's like me. He's a fucking nobody, isn't he? And I went, he's a nobody. And he went, if you sack him, it's like sacking me. He's got a family and kids and all that. And I was like, it's not that easy. I need to though. Like, I'm not getting an option. If I don't, then it's going to be, I'm talking like, oh mate, riot, man. It would have been a fucking, there's so much that I can't even touch on, but it would have been a fucking riot if I didn't sack this guy, right? And then I was getting phone calls for like, head office down in London, down in somewhere.
HR and all that, yeah.
HR were getting involved. People were going off sick. My HR lead that had been with the company for 20 years, she came in. She had to come from a different site. She came in 20 years. I've only been in the company for 4 or 5 years, only like 2 or 3 years in that senior role. She's come in and she was like, I went, have you seen this? What's happening here? And she was like, no, she went, I know who's involved in that, so I'm not saying I'm a bit fucking messy. I was like, I went, read all this. And she was like, oh, no, fuck that. And I was like, I know. And she went, what are they telling you to do? I goes, I need to get rid of him because of X, Y, Z. And she went, nah, fuck this. She went off in the sick. She was like, I'm not fucking touching that. Fuck that. No, that's not my conscience. So I was like...
Was that like, surely alarm bells were like it's so hard when you're in the midst of it and you're getting the pressure and you're just like, right, I just need to do this. But your alarm bells are ringing for that integrity part.
It's
That's the thing,
integrity part, that's
and
what it was
it's
with
like,
me,
fuck, man,
I was like, my whole character's getting questioned right now.
Aye.
And basically what it was, which really started beating me down, is because this guy had to go to make things easy. But what they were doing, they realised, like, they started to go, why did we put... They basically had to put me on it because of... There was
like a disconnect for...
No, it was because it was the other manager was on holiday at the time. It had to get done quick, and the other manager was like on site at the time. So it basically had to be me. It couldn't be anyone else. And I think they knew, this isn't going to be easy with Gerry because he's got a bit of integrity. And so see for them, mate, like people I thought I was kind of looked out for me as my superiors were just like...
you see it all
They were
crumbling
like,
down.
they're mind fucking, total mind fucking me. And already at that
It's like
point,
psychological war, man.
Psychological war, but it's only me. So I had no backup in the place because everyone was too scared to get involved in it. Like even guys that were like, there was guys in my position round about going like, fair play to you, Gerry, man.
Yeah.
Fuck me, you're just a young boy coming up here and you're holding your ground. Like this is powerful people behind this. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not, and this isn't me trying to be, I'm very aware when I was younger, I was like trying to be a hard man. It wasn't about, for me, I started to realise like, this is me being a fucking man right now. Like I'm willing to take this on. I'm willing to have literally sacrifice my career. Literally, it was at that point, mate. I'm sacrificing my role in this company.
To do the right thing.
If I don't do this, I'll get pushed out of the company in some capacity and I'll get blacklisted. And then even things like, mate, I was getting burner. I'm saying it didn't happen a lot. I get a burner account on Facebook. Sent me a photo of my flat, outside my flat.
What the fuck?
So there was mad shit going on, mate. And that wasn't to do with work. These people are something outside the work.
Right.
This is separate from the work. So I'm very aware of that. No one knows. I'm not saying the names anyway, but there was other stuff going on.
It's just hunters there, like.
So I had the work thing and I had personal stuff happening. I went out my car one night. I worked back shifts. I finished at 10, and there was like, I can't remember now, like 7 or 8 boys around my car, like proper tooled up, like didn't say anything, but they were like, "What's happening here?" And that, I mean, fuck, you doing this, fine? And I was like, "Fuck me, I can't." I'm like, then I started going like, "What am I doing this, man? This is going to get like, this could affect my job, but also I could get laid out here, like proper done in here, like." I'm 30, 31. I don't need this. Like, what the fuck am I doing? But again, it was like, I just couldn't pull the trigger. I was like, no, I can't. I basically said, so that, it was, my dad said to me, say that comment, he said,
I gave me goosebumps when you said that.
The boy I raised wouldn't do that. But then I'm saying to him, like, it's different for that, Dad. It's like, there's a lot going on here. And he was like, you know, we've always got your back. See whatever you do in your life, son. See, as long as you're doing it with the right intention. You don't ever be scared. It's a phrase. I don't know if it was my grandpa, one of my older uncles said it. Like, see, if you're a good man, you'll never be outnumbered. So it's always something. That's always a quote that came in. I heard it when I was young one time. I think it's when I was maybe going through a bit, just like running about daft at school and stuff. And I didn't have backup. I said I didn't have older cousins backup. And it was one of my uncles said to me, like, as long as you're doing good and you're a good man and you've got a good heart and you have good intentions, you'll always find people back you. So up in that environment, I was like, no one's backing me. So all these things were starting to, like, it was starting to fragment.
Really
these questions that I've always lived by, I was going like, oh, that's not, I'm not getting backed up here. I'm literally solo. And like, so it basically got to the point where, so that was the weekend of, so I don't know what day that was, right? But effectively what happened was I kept pushing it back. And I was like, give me time, let me rethink it. And the bosses are saying, like, you need to do this, like, bump. You know, it's like you're talking about drowning, you're just like, head's going to explode. So I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't doing the gym because I was just too, it rolled out for like 4 or 5 weeks, this thing, because it's all processing yourself, right? And then basically, I got to the point where, like, right, this needs to happen now, because if this goes to tribunal, which it will, they knew, this is another thing, Dale, they knew, it was discussed.
They were just ready to pay
it was discussed it was going to go to a tribunal. It was
Mm.
discussed. So I was like, see, the fact that you know it's going to go to a tribunal, it means you know it's wrong. So why the fuck am I doing this? Like, oh, it buys us time to blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is fucking bonkers, man. Like, and then when this is all happening, this man who is like nearly at retirement age, a great worker in the place, he's fucked.
Yeah,
he's going to lose his pension and everything, and he's been living for. And I said earlier on, people live for their pension in that place.
20, 30 years.
He's living for his pension. So I'm going to take that away because of the disciplinary would have been.
Aye, because of what it was.
Because of what it was, it would have been a bad dismissal. And it wasn't long before Christmas and all this, and then so I was like, I don't care what happens to me. I can't on my conscience have that happen to that man. So I was kind of fighting that battle, and I'm like, no, Gerry, but think about it. Like if you don't cut him, then everyone else are going to get fucked in some capacity because the contract could be gone, right? So then I'm going, it's true.
I see.
It's true. Like I'm potentially affecting other jobs, but it was the principle of it. So I'm sure you can imagine my head, and I'm getting burner accounts showing photos of my flat, and see the stuff like that. It's like, it's not like I didn't really scare me. It was more just like,
there's something else I need.
Yeah, I couldn't even go home. I couldn't even go home. You know, because I was like, I can't even relax here. So I had nowhere. Everything was consumed. So like when I left the work, I went to my home, but people were sending photos of my flat. So I'm like, I had no safe space. So basically what happened was, he said, right, this needs to start happening now, because the longer this drags out, it looks worse for us as a company and blah blah blah. Right. So I was like, it was a Thursday. Yeah. So it was a Thursday. I went in for this big last meeting, and they basically went, right. By this point, they were talking to me like I was a piece of shit.
It's just...
And they're like, right, fucking hell, Gerry. So the other respect is going... Over this 4-week period, the respect of me as a manager, everything's gone. By this point, my whole status in the work's gone as a manager, because of like, you're taking the piss out of us now, Gerry. Like, just fucking... talking to me like a kid. Go fucking sack him, man. You know, that sort of stuff. And I was like, right, no, but I just can't. I just don't know if I physically can. I don't know if I can say the words, right? And it was like, right, do you know what? Right, go up the road. Take a long weekend, like, chill, man, relax. Come in Tuesday, 29th of October. I've got it arranged for 10 in the morning. Bam, it's done. It's done, right? So I was like, maybe aye. I went up that week. So I was actually supposed to work on the Friday, Saturday, and I went, no, cool, don't worry, we'll sort the shifts and that. You go up the road. So that weekend was like I don't know what it would have been, 26th or 25th or something.
Yeah,
25th or whatever it was, right? So I was, mate, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that's when I was like, I need out of this fucking life. I'm done. Whatever, my whole path going forward is just black. I'm fucked. Either whatever I do here, I'm like, again, it's like, whatever I do, I'm fucked. Because even if I do the decision that suits the work, me as a man, as a person,
your character's broken.
My character's broken. I don't know if I can live like that. So I was just like, the kind of etiquette to it. I don't know if I can't live like this, because my integrity is going to be gone, which I value. Like I'm sure you can tell by this point, I'm very much like, my word holds some weight, and you know, all that. And then I was like, but my future, like money and job and all that, plus like physically, I'm potentially going to get done in, you know, stuff as well. And then I'm going to need to watch where I'm walking some places. And I was like, there was just no way out, mate. So then I was going through the process of like, right, how are we doing this? You know, how are we fucking doing this here? Like, one of the guys, it was a guy around it, what's it called? It was basically a park down next to me, up towards Kenneth Head Flats, actually. And I remember we drove past one time, and the guy was hanging for the play park.
All right, fuck.
So I seen that guy hanging, and I was like, well, nah, you can't do that. That's like, people are affected by that.
What do you mean, like you seen that?
Yeah, he killed himself.
All right, fuck.
Yeah, I don't know the guy. I didn't know the guy.
Right.
I'm pure sounding like heartless when I'm saying this, but yeah, it was like,
sweet.
It was after like a session one morning, and we were just driving, and then the taxi driver was like, fucking hell, was that a body hanging for the swing park? And then sure enough, you can't, it was far away. It turns out it was, because then the papers and the news, no, it wasn't the news, they don't really report stuff like that.
So is that a memory that came in when you
I was
thinking
open
about
that at this point.
Right,
this is only maybe years previous. So then they was like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. And I was like, right, well, you know, like, I'm just thinking of stuff, like trying to think about it, it's I don't really like going into too much, because it kind of, it's still quite raw, even though it was only years ago, but I was just, you know, like,
taking
you know, I've talked about when I used to be like, with road rage, it's like, I need to do something here. That's what I was like that weekend. All weekend, I was like, I need to do something here. I need to do something. This needs to end. And then, I was, well, and obviously I've never done anything, right? Because obviously I'm still sitting here. But yeah, I can't really. It's all a.
I'd imagine I was going to say haze, but probably
It's a bit of
pretty blur.
hazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a haze. This is why another thing about talking about. I was going to touch on later on after I say this part is like you don't need to be suicidal to kill yourself. That's something that I'm very aware of. Like because I was blacked out of those moments. I think what saved me that time was I was in my flat. I didn't go out and get drunk or anything. So believe it or not, because you think maybe you're going to drown your sorrows.
I was going to ask you.
I was actually just like scared to. I was kind of scared of myself. I was like, I don't know. So the thought of being outside, I might just jump in front of genuinely, I might just jump in front of a bus or something, or if I go in that car, because I had something a few years previous where I was driving home for work and I pure blacked out, and then the next thing I remember, I'm just flying at 120 miles an hour on the motorway. Okay. It was pouring rain. I was like, fuck, and I zoned back in, and I was like,
what the hell was
fuck,
that?
I'm there. And then straight away I was like, oh, that's because I'm fucking like something's not right there. So there was always something going on. So I was kind of aware of that at that weekend. So it was like, you know, I was thinking about like, did I fucking kill myself here? But I was like, well, I don't want to go outside though because I think something's going to happen if I do. So I just stayed in. I stayed in the flat the full weekend, and then basically never slept. Like wasn't eating. I didn't go to the shops. I literally didn't want to leave the flat, so I didn't go to the shops then. So I was just eating like.
Fridge
toast
remains,
and bread,
like
just whatever was there, and then got to the Monday night, got into the Tuesday, and then basically, I wasn't sleeping because I was like Tuesday. So tomorrow I'm going into whatever happens tomorrow. It ends.
Aye.
I'm either going to sack this guy or I'm not. But either way, my life's fucked. So I was just lying in bed, literally like, right, okay. When I drive in, I'm going to just drive off something in the motorway or something in the morning. And I was like, I was genuinely just like, very matter of fact, how I was thinking about it. I was like, I'll just see how I feel in the morning. Like if I'm driving to the work, and I just fuck it, you know, that sort of stuff. And that's the thing. See that's all it takes. You know, if you're running a motor and you're not feeling great, that's what I mean. If you don't necessarily need to want to do it. I knew I didn't want to be here. I don't know if I necessarily wanted to kill myself. Strange, but that in
it's
itself,
probably the overwhelm.
It's overwhelm,
everything that you just want to feel that.
Yeah.
And
but I think that's a danger for some people out there now. It's like, oh no, but I'm not suicidal though, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need to be suicidal, you need to be, see if you're miserable enough in your life. Like that happened when I was driving that car that time. Just blacked out, boom, sped up. Whoa, fucking hell, what happened there?
Yeah.
Like even when I was driving to go to work that day, well, I didn't end up going, but I was thinking all it's going to take for me is just to be like, hit a pure blackout of just overwhelm and just be like, fuck. And then I'm dead. And then people will go, oh, you committed suicide. It's like, well, I didn't want to die though. You know, it's weird. It's a fucking weird dynamic to speak about. But anyway, so what happened was, I'm lying there, get into the Tuesday morning, which is 29th of October. And it was like, I wasn't sleeping. I was just lying there, like, just looking at the ceiling. And then, I got my phone's lying at the side of the bed, and my phone goes. And I was like, fucking, I knew it was early in the morning, and it was like literally 6 in the morning, 6:00 on the thing, and it was mum. And I was like, why the fuck's mum phoning me? She must be worried about me, because she knew I've got a bit of shit going on. So she must be worried about me. And then she's phoned and she says, she said, Patrick's dead. So my cousin, she went, Patrick's dead. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can't even put it in words now. I was just like, what?
Same time?
That was that morning.
Oh, fuck it.
So see the morning I was going to be going to work,
right?
Potentially to fucking thingy my motor off a motorway. I found out my cousin passed away.
Holy shit.
So I get the phone call about that.
Yeah.
So that was the worst weekend of my life prior to what's happened with my cousin passing away. So literally at this point, mate, you think my life's bad then? My life then just became a fucking like, I was numb. I was like, it was horrible, mate. It was just like, then you start going like that isn't even, then that stuff becomes irrelevant.
Right, it's just
fucking mental. That's when it's all just like, my whole time of life around then is just a total blur, because it's like everything just started being like a dream, like a nightmare all rolled into one. So then basically so obviously I've still got to get into work and do this thing, but then straight away see all that power it had over me. I'm like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do? Like, it didn't matter anymore.
They just said, fuck this.
Because I literally was at the point, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. Then I've just found out about my cousin's now not here. And then I was like, Yeah, so at that point I was like, okay, I'm out, man. I'm out of this. Fuck this. It was weird. It sounds strange to say. It's not a nice thing to say, but I get a power. That energy became a bit like rage.
I shifted.
So previously, the energy I was having was like, oh, I feel so out of control. Like I don't know. They beat me down so much, and then when I found out that, I was like, this isn't a fucking problem. You just think this is a problem, because then they were all going, oh, if you don't do this, Gerry, then this will happen. So I basically phoned up and I goes, listen, I quit. I'm not coming back to work with it. This is the day I'm going to go in and do the damage, right? And then all the bosses were like, what are you talking about? I don't be like that. But they've been talking down to me for the last 3 weeks to the point where they were just talking to me like a kid. And then I remember the conversation, the guy, my boss, he was like, you shut the fuck up and get in here. And I goes, you watch who you're fucking talking to. I'm not coming in. And he goes, I'm going to come in there and drag you. I went, come. It's basically, that's what he said to me. I'm going to come in and fucking drag. She's like, and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, you better bring a fucking team with you if you're coming out to drag me out the flat, because you don't even know what's happened here. You didn't even asked. You didn't even ask why I'm not coming in. And then the worst bit as well, I told him what happened, and he went, Gerry, don't give us your shit. He thought I was kidding on. So they thought I'd fabricated a story about my cousin passing away. And I went, I'm not fucking coming in. And then they were like, Gerry, shut the fuck up, get in here, man. You don't need to make up stories, right? So I've just went like, you better. And then at this point I said, I'll come down and get you. And I went, you know what, don't come and get me. Trust me when I'm saying this, do not come and get me now if that's what you're saying to me. And then what happened was, my first protocol, which again probably ties in with the whole AFIT thing, I didn't know what to do. I basically phoned my mum back and goes, what do I do? What do we do? And she was like, nothing, we can't do anything. I was like, what's that? But then, it's just, what do you do? It's when someone passes away, what do I do? And then I didn't know what to do, so I just went to the boxing gym. 10 past 6 in the morning, it was opens at 6. I walked in, straight away there's a guy Dip that works there. He was there and was like, oh Gerry, what's happening and that, and I was like, not bad mate, like just totally didn't say anything. And then I was like, I'm just going to shut up the stairs mate, but usually I would go and do weights then go up the stairs, so he knew something was off. And there was another few boys that just happened to be in that morning that I was really pally with in the boxing. And then I went up the stairs and I've just sat up in the back corner of the boxing gym and I've just started putting on my gloves. It's just a habit. It's just like, I'm just going to punch this bag about and just take out some emotion. And then a guy, Jagger and Dip have come up, and then Jagger was like, is Dip saying Big Gerry's in there now or something? Because obviously it wasn't used to me being in it at that time. And then they both just come up like, something's not right, Gerry. Because I usually don't go up there straight away. So then Dips went, something's not right, mate. Why are you up here? But I'm up in the corner, I can't see me, but he's talking. He goes, something's not right, big man. What's happening? Why are you on it this time? And I just burst out crying, just hysterically crying. Like, and then they were like, what's happened? And then I couldn't speak. I was just like, oh mate, the whole emotion, the whole emotion of weeks and everything.
Just all the build up.
Just the build up, aye. So, and then these two guys, mate, these two are like proper, what I would class as alpha guys, man. But these proper, like you don't want to mess with these guys. Lovely guys though. This is what you find though when you get older. It's the guys that are like, don't
cool,
need to be.
Calm and collected.
That's the ones that are the ones that
the vicious guys.
Yeah. You want to hang about with, and they're just like, the ones that talk too much or whatever. So these guys, like proper hard, great guys, they come up and they just sat at me. I was just in tears, and I said, I can't speak. I don't know what to say. Like, don't worry, just sit. I mean, I must have sat there for like half an hour just reading, and then basically I've just said what happened in that, and then it was just. So then see over the next while, I was just that gym fucking saved my life, man. Because I didn't know what I would have done. And then off the back of that, basically the whole work thing, to try and just fast forward to get it out of the way, basically just I went. I said I quit. I was just off in the sick. Understandably, I wasn't in the right headspace. And they were giving it like, no, you need to come in. And I was like, fuck off, man. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're just checked out.
The burner account sent another photo to me. And I can't remember what I said. I said something like, "Mon up and chat with door" or something like that. I wasn't giving a fuck, man. I was so over it, man. At that point, my manager heads off, my corporate heads off, and I'm probably reverting a bit back to like myself of old as well. So when I start that whole, because I was it's funny because even I was getting stuff for the photos of my flat, I was shit myself. But see when it came down, I was like, come on, I'm fucking doing something. Yeah,
it's like,
I don't give a fuck.
It's like the two versions of you.
Everything starts shattering. Even all these things are like, it's funny because you can look back and go, see 2 days previous, I was sitting in my flat going like, that path, I can't, that path, and then there's the path where these guys are keep threatening me, and then, what about these paths?
Aye.
I'm just
You're
looking
just
ahead at these.
focused on what you think's most important.
So that whole, see all these things that were like demons in front of me, like black darkness. See, within 2 or 3 days, it was all shattered. Like the work, I just said, well, do you know what? I quit. You know that I quit, by the way. But I went off sick, so I'm saying I quit. But they knew it was happening. They knew what I was doing. I was taking my sick pay, right?
Yeah.
So then straight away, it was like, it was all the conversations. But you can't, Gerry. Like, no, I said, the guy previous down south, he was like, no, you can't just quit your job, Gerry. And I was like, well, I'm going to. So it was mad. See, even me talking about that now, it's like so empowering because days previous I was
had the eyes, like confidence has like shifted and just
my whole confidence has changed.
Well, I guess first things first, like telling that story is obviously still a big mental or emotional scar, whatever you want to call it, because it's probably like I don't think how many years pass. I think that's always going to have this big pivotal moment, but the sadness in that is obviously so much is going on, so much emotional breakdown, but then something that we all go through in life, that the passing of somebody, and that is like, it brings life to that halt, and it's like, fuck, that's what's more important.
Well, see, the thing is, this is something I've kind of touched on a couple of times on posts in the past. Like, see when people ask like, how I'm living life now, right? We've all been there when it's like, and when you're younger, it's probably your grandparents and stuff like that pass away, right? But you know, whenever someone passes away, you always go, fuck, man, life's short. Like, oh, jeez, man, fucking hell. Like, and then for probably a few days, you start being like, you know, you hug people a bit, you hug your family a bit tighter. You say to, like, you know, your mum and dad, you love them, and but it just starts falling away.
It's the motivation dips, isn't it?
So I lost one of my uncles when I was like early 20s, but it was like a kind of second dad. It was my dad's brother,
right?
So he was like a second dad to me. It was like, he stayed close to us as well. That was very sudden when my Uncle Willie passed away. And that was a very pivotal moment in my life, which I think made me appreciate life, but I never acted upon it as much. But what I did take from that time is I was very protective of my family. So I would never have, see when I go and see my mum and dad, I'll maybe go and see them later on. Like, when I leave, I'll give them a hug and I'll say, love you. It's just not even a second thing now, because before my Uncle Willie passed away, I would just see my mum and dad, and then I'll be, all right, I'll see you later on, shoot. So that was something that kind of started getting ingrained. I was very aware of, that's probably when I was first aware of death. Then inevitably, the nature of a big family, people do pass away, unfortunately. Like, probably more so. I probably see it a bit more than the average person. Loved ones passed away. But I'd kind of noticed, like, oh no, like I say, life's short and that. But before you know it, a week or two passes, and it's kind of like you're back to living. I should probably maybe think about quitting my job and doing something. But this is comfortable though. So when after Paddy passed away, because of the age of Paddy as well, me and Paddy grew up together. Like, so within the families and stuff, like, obviously a lot of cousins, so we just kind of, you'd usually tie him with one of your age. So Paddy was from Govan Hill, he ended up moving over to Ireland, so me and Paddy kind of not fell apart, he moved away for a bit, then he came back, and then he was he was having the same sort of things I was going on, just like, fucking life's fucking hard, man. That's what people don't talk about, life's fucking hard.
Did you ever speak about that sort of stuff?
I spoke to him at his brother's wedding, like I don't know how long it was prior to it. And he didn't. Yeah, well, both kind of not feeling great, like, just getting on it.
So you could sense it.
Yeah, I could sense it, and then it was just sort of like the conversation. But it's the same conversation people have. Like, I just like, oh fuck, man, these fucking come downs and that, and you know, you just So we just touched on the fact that we're both miserable. It's weird to say, because you just now you look back now and it's like everyone probably talks about being miserable, and it's just like same, you know. And it's if it's normal. Even in my old work, I look back now, it's all hindsight now, but when you're looking at my old work, and every conversation was like, fuck, it's just pish, man, it's just pure shite, like, I'm fucking miserable. And then it's like, I know, same. And then you're literally all having a conversation about how miserable you are. And then for me looking out, it's the same when I used to go, it's all kind of full circle moments for me, like when I went for the boxing gym, and I'd maybe then go and meet my old pals, and they'd all be lying in a gaff, getting full of gear, wasters, and I'd go in and go, wow, that's mad. That's what I used to do. So then, now that I'm out of it, it's easy to say. This is what I'm very aware of. It's easy for me to say, like, you know, screw the nut and do whatever. You'll be a happier life. But when you're in it, you don't realise that. It's normal. So, like...
And look at what you've had to go through to, like, really challenge and that. It's like...
Yeah.
You can understand why, I guess, so many people get stuck in that, because the step out is, like, I think there's a testament to how you were raised, how, like, you might not have felt it at the time, but how mentally strong you were from seeing your dad and having love through family and all that sort of stuff.
Well, the thing is, well, there's a I don't know if I read this somewhere. I think it was for that book Shambhala, talking about the Tibetan warrior monks, and it was like talk about fearlessness. like these warrior monks, it's not like when you hear warrior monks, you think it's going to be these guys like, not samurais, that's like Japan, but you know, like just, you know, just vicious, like, you know, the bald monks and they're all mad, like all that sort of stuff. But they talk about ingraining like a solid sort of mindset and not being scared of stuff. Like a true warrior's not scared to stand up for himself. Like we can all be the loudest in the room, but see when someone that's truly about it steps in the room, everyone probably goes quiet. Like you need to be the person that's like, I don't give a fuck who walks in the room. I'm like, you know, I'm going to be who I am. I'm not changing. Some people might act like a person or think they're a person, and then someone walks in the room and then they go, oh, I'm changed how I am as a person. See whether, no matter who walks in that door now, I won't change how I am as a person. It's the same as me on Instagram and stuff. People always would reference the fact that like, oh, you're just the same as you are in your stories. And it's like, what else would I be? I'm not like, I don't try and be funny or be a hard man or be the greatest coach. I just try and be myself, and then inevitably if you go through life, it's going to be easier to navigate because you're just being yourself. I was saying this to Sean McCarthy actually, because he's talking about like he was going to do really well. I think he's going to he'll be like this Scottish I just see him in future being some mad Scottish like celebrity guy. But he was like, oh, it's nerve-wracking because there's potential sponsorships happening or something. I'm not saying too much, but I can't really remember what he was saying anyway, but he was like, it's fucking nerve-wracking. And I was like, Sean, see the good thing about you, but like, see what you're doing, you're just being yourself. Like, so it's not like you're putting on an act.
You don't need to change.
You don't need to change, so that should be comforting. See it, and I do with AFIT now, people say like, oh, you're concerned with the growth of AFIT, and it's like, well, no, because I just need to keep being myself. I'm not going to be anyone different. So sorry, I just went off.
No, that's cool. So obviously, Paddy was, became part of your brand, and it's obviously a very, like, understand now why it's such a pivotal part in your journey and kind of going on to saving other people's lives, to your earlier point of a mission that was in you that you didn't quite know what it was, and it's obviously very sad and everything of what had to happen for that to happen, but is there ever a part of you where you're like, because everybody deals with grief in different ways, and handling regret and all that sort of stuff, is all of that in your mind with that?
Yeah, there's certain things that just when I was younger, like, just getting myself in certain positions. Like I probably fell away from a friendship group when I was younger because I was just doing some, I was wanting to fight and stuff. Like, so I do have a lot of regret on how I acted. I probably wasn't a nice person when I was on the drink and drugs and stuff, but I wasn't a nice person. But it's a tricky one because what I'm doing now, so inevitably that's when I think like it's probably helped with me putting my message across, because see when I've been a bit more open about stuff, there's certain like, so see in the area I'm from, right, like I speak to like there's younger boys and there's older boys and that, like, who maybe would be seen as like not rough crowds. I don't know what you would really call it, like not cool. I don't know, guys
like,
you
win the mess with,
guys you win mess with, but not from being bams or anything. Just just like they're kind of like just solid guys, right? So I was probably just kind of seen as that, right? Not as an individual, just as a kind of person, like just as like you'd be a solid guy. Like I wasn't like a shrinking violet. I don't know if the term, like I was a guy that would be like, if you want this way I go, cool. If you want to go and have a laugh, cool. Like, I'm cool for anything sort of thing. I'm not really gonna. Again, I've just been myself, and if it's whether it's you've got an issue with me, okay, let's address it. If you've not got an issue with you, let's be friends. That sort of thing. So see when I started then. And inevitably, because of things when I was younger, I'm saying, listen, I wasn't, I'm just very aware, I wasn't like a fucking, like, it's not like people I wasn't like that guy. I just, I liked a bit of just hot-headed, right? So whatever, right? So see when I started getting to the position now where I'm talking about, I've struggled, there's 100% boys, younger boys and older boys that were like, fucking hell, man, Gerry, like, he was always like kind of big, strong guy that he was built for a square go and stuff like that. And then some people might have been like, nah, no, like, because they see me now. Some of the boys that I would maybe used to hang about with in that spell where I was just like, just running about everywhere, man, running about all different schemes and stuff. They'd be like, nah, they'd probably see me now and be like, that's an act. But that was an act. See the me try to be, this big hard man. It's like, that was an act. So, but see me doing the stuff now where it's like, but that first video I put up, right, my issue when I put the first video up on the AFIT page talking about like how my thoughts and I'm struggling about my mental health, like I knew people, I was worried people would see that and be like, fucking shite bag,
like weak,
whatever, like you're a weak man, like, and it's like it's like we all project a hologram of ourselves, what we want people to see, rather than like, that's what I was doing, rather than just nowadays I don't project a hologram, I just be the person I want to be. So back then I was probably now people are going to start thinking, oh, he's just been I don't know, it's strange. It all comes down to like, it's a fear thing, innit? Like, I don't know if did I say this to you earlier on? Maybe I was talking to someone about this yesterday. It's like a lot of your decisions come down to death, right? So if you're scared to quit your job, right? I don't know if I heard it in a podcast or something one time, and it was like, the reason you're scared to quit your job is because there's a kind of primal thing in you, but it's like, if you quit your job or lose your job, then you won't have money. If you don't have money, then you won't be able to eat, and if you won't be able to eat and you can't provide for your family, your family will leave you, your wife will leave you, your kids, you can't feed your kids, and if you eventually you'll starve and you'll die. And I know I'm being very extreme with that, but they tend to, it was something, the podcast or whatever it was, put it a lot better, but it was that, and I thought, that's probably kind of is, like, a lot of your fears and stuff is because you don't want to die.
Keep questioning the whys, like the 5 whys, is he going, right, so what's scaring you about it? Well, because of this.
Yeah.
And then what else? And then you simplify it, and you're like, oh, it's actually not as big a decision.
So back then, I was obviously doing, when I first went to start the AFIT page, I was like...
So what kind of made you go down, so you've go down sick and all that?
I know where you're going, right? So see when I was struggling, right? So put me back 6 years, right, before AFIT's a thing, right? And I was struggling. I knew I needed something. I didn't know what. I just knew I needed something. Like I remember going to the boxing gym, and that helped. And it wasn't like needing something in the sense of like, oh, I need to get 40 grand a year. It was like, it was starting to get different. I was like, I need something needs to, and then when I was there was books and stuff like that, but the problem is with books, Be Here Now and that, fucking great. Like I think that stuff's like saved my life as well, right? There's a lot of contributing factors, but there was never even Eckhart Tolle, like his story. But Eckhart Tolle wasn't relatable to me. Like Eckhart Tolle was like he's like German, quite a sophisticated guy. Like I'm just a guy. Like, but I'm not a pure guy for the scheme or anything. But I'm just a guy for Glasgow. I'm not any different from the next guy. Like just a guy for Glasgow that's just drink, drugs, just struggled with all that, how to be a proper man. And then, so when I'm talking about mental health, and also when I was talking about trying to quit my job, I needed an example of someone. Like I would Google stuff, Dale, right? And I'd be like, can I quit my job at 30? Can I start again at 30? And you run forums, like American forums, going, yeah, I quit my job at 30.
It's always Americans,
like
isn't it?
So these sort of things, I'd be Googling this stuff, like, can I quit my job? And then I'd be on trying to, like, I mean, the amount of times I'd have YouTube stuff on in the background, just when I'm kicking about my flat, it'd be like, it sounds for a matter of fact now, but like suicidal motivation, like wanting to kill myself motivation. That's how simple I'd put it. I'd type in, because you'd end up finding something. It'd be like suicidal motivation or stuff like that, and then it'd be like Tony Robbins and all that in the background, and it would just be talking about like, no, you're good enough and all that. And it's like I was finding little safety life vests just to keep me afloat, but I was like, something needs to change. I need something else. Like I need someone that I can go, you have done it, so how the fuck did you do it? Right? So then I was like, there's not really, I mean, don't get me wrong, there probably was, right? I probably just couldn't find them or whatever. So I'm not
just
saying
the age that you grew up in, like
I find that see being like a wee bit older, like it's a different life. It's a different life. Even just the way I am as a person, like there's things now you see the younger team and you're like, that wouldn't, and this isn't like a boast or anything, it's like that wouldn't stand years ago. Like see some of the people throwing shots on Instagram and that, like my approach, like I don't get involved in any drama on Instagram, because my approach is like, see, unless it's something like physical coming to my door and someone literally says, because people, I don't know, people might talk about AFIT and be like, oh, fucking AFIT, that's fine. Like, but see, unless it comes to like, right, you, Gerry Kennedy, blah, 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 and it comes and it's right in front of me, it's irrelevant to me. So it's just a different way of life, innit? So I probably struggled with that. But then there wasn't someone there. So even though I was getting all this help, I didn't have anyone that was like, he's the guy, blah, blah, blah. And then what I did find, when I was trying to find guys, from Glasgow, because Glasgow's a different, we all say our city's the best. I fucking love Glasgow, mate. That's why it's in the name. I fucking love Glasgow, man. I just love the people. I just think it's have such a mix. So I would be looking for like Glasgow, like I would literally just type in stuff on Google, like Glasgow mental health, and then you would find stuff like Chris's house and these things, brilliant. And it sounds strange to say that's not what I needed though. So it's strange. I'm not in,
so weird. Like you didn't know what you needed, but you also did know what you needed. You know it wasn't that.
Yeah, I needed some. Yeah. So then basically, and then when I was typing in mental health PT or something, or mental health, like
coaching,
mental health gym, then from someone that was in it, and I'm talking in it to the point where I'm ready to do something here. I just found them all just so fucking condescending. And I was looking at them going, shut the fuck up. If it actually annoyed me.
Did it?
And it actually annoyed me to the point where I was like, and that's just my take. And see, the thing is now it's different because I get they're all trying to help. But a caveat to that is I do think some people use the mental health thing to capitalise on money, right? And I can, personally, I don't know if it's because I've been writing amongst, you know, suicidal thoughts. I can smell it a fucking mile off, mate. Because I'm just like, do you know what? It's a tricky one. I don't want to say you've not struggled, and no, it's not that, but it's like, I don't think you've been as, you know.
You can usually smell the intentions from like why someone's talking about it. Or,
if they say something and it's like, oh, you know, you want to help you, and it's like, okay, sign up to this or DM me the word mental health. It's like, fuck me, man, you're off. You are way off, man. Like, see the all mental health stuff. It's like, it's like Chris's house, men with issues. It should be free. If that's your intent, that's not something you fuck about with. Mental health stuff is, you know, whatever. But granted, I know the AFIT thing is like, I'm trying to, I'm just saying do it for free, but I'm not doing AFIT for free. I do a lot of stuff for free, don't get me wrong, I don't talk about it on
we raise a lot of money and all that sort of stuff.
Do the money stuff, and there's always something in the background that I'm not going to get into, but I do keep linear with what the background thing is. I just don't, it's not my place to tell people's stuff. Stuff like that. So anyway, so just in case you blank, oh, you fucking that, you don't give a, I do, there's stuff I'm doing that I just don't talk about because it's not my place to say, right?
And I don't it's not a social media
it's
post.
Not a social media thing.
Exactly.
It's not, whereas some people like, this, by the way, I'm doing this and this, it's like, just do it then. You don't need to talk about it so much.
It's like videoing the homeless guy giving them money.
Effectively, so that sort of thing. So like, there just wasn't anyone, and then I'd actually this is the thing, I spoke to Paddy about it, because when I seen him at that wedding, I said, similar to this, we talked about that in the podcast, the Sam, the 5-a-side and stuff. Yeah, so I was saying to him, I was like, mate, I'm doing that boxing that through Glasgow Fitness and that. He'd moved up to Greenock at this point. I was like, mate, that's helping me, man. Doing the gym stuff's helping me. And he was like, Gerry, they're all fucking wankers, man. Like, they're all like, and Paddy was some buzz, man. He was like, see, like, people think I'm like, again, I feel I'm just spitting here. If you're coming on here like as if like I'm like funny and this, I'm sure making myself sound great, right? But people will say, oh, you're quite funny, Gerry, or whatever. Right? Paddy was like me, that side of me, like the mad erratic, maybe people used to say like energy, funny. That was just all Paddy.
Right.
I was a bit more sensible. He was just he was a funny guy, right? So like he was the kind of guy you want to hang about as well, just some laugh. So like he was like, I'm not going to go to one of these PTs that's just fucking just like a robot. And then so we discussed, like, I wasn't a PT, I wasn't talking about being a PT. To be fair, actually, AFIT had started becoming a thing in my head.
Right,
I wasn't sure if it was AFIT yet, but something was like, I maybe need to start, whatever. And so we openly discussed, me and Paddy, about like, they're fucking arseholes, man. They're fucking, like, some of it, they're so full of shit. The sales pitch, me and Paddy were going like, fucking sales pitches. Like, and I said, no, just go to a gym though. You don't need to go to a PT. So I don't know what I'm doing in the gym. I used to go to the gym, so I was a bit different. And then I was like, no, you're right though, mate. They're fucking, he's like, everything's a sales pitch, Gerry. See when you go on Instagram and that, it's just all like, oh, by the way, and then it looks like they're trying to help you, and then at the end of it, it's like, he's join our team and money. So that's something you will never see on the AFIT page. It's something that, initially when I first done my video, and probably to an extent it still happens now. I need to kind of switch it a wee bit because it's a business now.
Yeah.
But I'll never lose the roots of it. But no, do you know what? I do still do it now, actually. When I do a talking video, I'll always go, what would Paddy think of that? So if I'm talking about mental health or something, I'd watch it back and go, and then it's, you know what, 99% of the time, I'm always doing it from a good place anyway. So like, I do actually watch it and go, or I look back, what would I think when I was struggling with stuff, or, you know,
because you can put that lens on.
Yeah, I just put that lens of someone that's actually struggling, and I go, would that maybe hit home? Would they relate with that or whatever? Not too much. I don't want it to be too forced, but I don't post, you know yourself, I don't post a lot of content. I'll just go off a feel. I don't feel. I don't have a structure in place or a schedule. I just go off of if something's happening. If I go through a hard spell, like right now, I'm probably going through a wee tricky spell because I've just got the house and the gym. And there's a couple of wee things going on in the background of my life now. I'm toiling a wee bit. I might talk about it in a post, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if it would help anyone. I don't know if I need to work it through first and then talk about it, but it's all very real with me on the page. So yeah, when I first started the AFIT page, it was always like, right, what would Paddy think about this, right? So then, the PK wasn't in I don't know if the PK was in the logo then.
What did the name AFIT and actual getting off it?
So the name AFIT is just something you know yourself, mate. Like see when you're kicking about and you're in a flat on a Sunday morning and you're like, I'm AFIT, man, fuck this.
And did that click straight away?
Yeah,
You're
so
like,
what I noticed was I'm very much someone that's like I like words. I think words are powerful, so I like words to hold weight. I don't like like AFIT, the term AFIT. I don't like it. I used to always say it, and it annoyed me because it was a throwaway. It was like it was a get out. It was like, I'm AFIT for a few days, and then you're not. So you're not AFIT, then you're not, because AFIT would suggest you're fucking AFIT. You know that, and that's what it usually stems from. You wake up on a Sunday and you're fried. Like, I need to change my life. I'm AFIT. That's what it's like. And then inevitably, what happens is, you don't. You have a couple of days off and then you get mad at it the next weekend, and then it's like, oh no, I'm AFIT. And it just became, I used to say it. I'm talking from experience. I was the one that used to say it, like, I'm AFIT. And then one day, I woke up and whatever, and I was like, no, that's it. I'm AFIT, man. This is like brutal. You know, everyone gets to that point. It's like, this is too much. Like, they're getting anxiety and stuff. And then, I don't really know what it was. I don't think there was any moment I just went, boom, that's it. I kind of just went, I wish that would told more meaning. I wish that when someone said they were AFIT, they meant it. And then, so from that, I remember like, there's a lot. I basically had a burst appendix. I was in hospital and I was just like depressed. And that's when I was depressed. Never had my health either. So I was depressed. Then I had the burst appendix. I couldn't go to the gym. So that was another low point in my life before the thing happened with that job thing. And then Paddy passed me. So I've had loads of really dark moments.
Milestones.
And that was when the AFIT probably first was born, because that kind of thing in my head of like, I wish AFIT meant something, especially because it's a term everyone uses in Glasgow. And I don't think for a second at this stage now, like, maybe up where I stay, see if someone in a Sunday, which is what my goal was, see up near where I stay, and all the younger boys and that round about, and girls like round about where I stay and that know me. If people say I'm AFIT, people will think to the gym.
Yeah.
And that's what I want, because it's like, there's times people will say like, I'm AFIT. And then they'll this is people telling me this, they'll go, I thought it was funny the other day, I would say I'm AFIT, and then they're like, oh right, what, Gerry's gym? Like that sort of thing.
Getting challenged on
the
it.
good thing about that is like, but like curious, oh, you train at AFIT? And then they go, no, I'm AFIT, and then they go, oh right. So it's become a discussion, and the beauty of that is the discussion then becomes, there might be someone in that room who's gonna come down and be like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, AFIT, it's a gym, like the guy Gerry, like he's like just one of us, but he's struggled with his head and that, he's got a gym in that now. And he's got a good team of boys and girls and blah, blah, blah. And like, oh, right. Oh, maybe I'll give him and then that
creates the space, like you're saying.
So from that, it was like AFIT. Originally, AFIT was AFIT, so like how you would write it, AFIT. And then I just didn't like the look of it. And I didn't want it to be the same.
You know, I did think that, because I brought your page up.
People
like
say
last night, and I was like, I'm sure
it's
that used to be two Fs.
No, it was always been one. Because originally, so when I originally drew the logo, and that when I was in the hospital, I drew a logo, and it was like, AFIT, AFIT. And then I thought, no, because I don't like that word. That's what annoys me. That I need to create a new word that's similar to AFIT. And inevitably, some people say AFIT, but I think by this stage, people know it's AFIT because I say it enough. But and also, he knows the traffic cone in the head. That was a nod to like. I didn't have Glasgow in it at that point. I just had it was just AFIT, and I put I love again. I fucking love that. I think it's class,
patriotic.
Like, see, whenever I used to live down south, obviously, so that actually probably doubled in. And for my head, like, I fucking love Glasgow. It's such good people and stuff.
You notice it more when you live in England. I lived in Nottingham for 4 years, and you're like, it's not wanks.
Glasgow people. It's the people, mate. It's the people in it. It's like the city's fine, but it's the people. So I wanted a nod to Glasgow, so I had the traffic cone. And what I thought about the traffic cone was it's a bit of a, in my own way of thinking, was like a nod to mental health. Because see that statue, it's like, it's something different in it, and it's like just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. So like different can be good. So in my head, I've always felt a bit different. Don't know, again, like I'm not one for the whole ADHD part, but to keep it simple, I do think there's something underlying with me. Maybe I hate people say that I'm wired different. It's not that. I just think I've got like tendencies, right? Plus I was depressed, so it's like I'm just a bit different. So when I'm feeling a bit. Sometimes I will feel a bit weird. Like even that vlog you're talking about, like me and Chris, is like Chris actually said to me the other day, like, do you know somebody's watch that vlog back and think, this is him talking from his own experience. He was like, you just think I'm a bit fucking weird, and I was like, Chris, I've felt that all my life, mate. So that the traffic cone thing, I thought that's quite. It's a nod to being different, and you're for Glasgow. There's a lot of reasons, but inevitably, see when I do something, it's like it's not just at face value. There's a lot going on in the background in my head that people won't even realise going on. So like, the cone having a thing to Glasgow and mental health. Again, I don't tell people about it, so they wouldn't have known. But as long as I know, it's like even the PK, the PK stuff. I never mentioned Paddy. I had PK in the logo. The only reason I started actually referencing it was Paddy is because, people were saying to me like, the big sign in AFIT, they'd say, "Oh, who's the PK that done your sign? I want to get a sign." And stuff like that, and I'd go, "What are you talking about?" And they'd go, "PK, like, is that obviously the guy that done your sign?" Like a graffiti artist with a tag. There was things like that going on, like, the people were saying, "Oh, the guy that designed your logo, like the guy PK, can you let us know his details?" And I was like, "That's fucking not, that's my fucking cousin." So I started getting a bit like, "Oh, maybe I need to reference Paddy because it's fucking important to me, man." People in AFIT will know, like some people will know Paddy, and I thought, then I think it was one of the boys actually in the gym that knew Paddy as well. He was like, "You need to reference it's Paddy, man, like fucking hell." Like, and I was like, "I know, but I just don't really whatever." And then sure enough, like I always feel like Paddy is like silent partner in the business. Like there's times even now, Dale, honestly, I'm in a place now where I'm like, "Oh man, this feels like I'm expanding the gym and I'm trying to restructure things in AFIT a wee bit now, but all for the better, not just like potentially get a coach in and stuff, and it's all a bit scary. Just got a house and that as well, and I'm financial, it's a bit of a risk just now, but I always feel like sometimes I feel I put it in my story a lot long ago. It's like it's weird. I feel safe though. It's like I'm on a roller coaster, but I feel like I'm strapped in because I feel like it's like whether it's Paddy. I was talking to one of my pals this other day. It's like whether it's Paddy or like so see when after Paddy passed away, there was a kind of connection. Like Paddy, I grew up with Paddy. Me and him we've got a lot of memories of Paddy when I was younger as well. So there was a kind of connection there, and then I felt as if like that's the most I've felt some sort of higher power. I mean, I know people might be like, "Oh, fuck's sake, man, here we go."
Well, you said earlier, I actually don't know if it'll be on the bit because of the SD card, but you mentioned about the books that you're referring to, like, became more spiritual.
Yeah,
a bit
more spiritual. I think it's just in my nature.
Like,
you just need to go off of your feel sometimes. So, like, after Paddy passed away, and because I was going through something at the time where I was potentially not going to be here anymore, I felt like there was something going on there, and it was like, it's the most I felt like power, like some sort of like something going on. Like this is another story. I'm going off in tangents, mate. But I got Recce done before one of my high roxes, and I can't remember Stockholm or something. I had my calf injury. One of the girls in the gym, her dad does Recce. He's a Recce master. So she basically said to me like, "I was fucked. I couldn't run, mate." Right? So she was like,
"Try it."
"Oh, I know you'll probably laugh, Gerry, but like, we've got my dad to do Recce on you." And then she thought I would probably laugh it off. I was like, "Fucking right, man. What do I need to do?" And then she was like, "Oh, nothing. Just you do it like remotely. So you'll go to your flat, you'll stay in the house, and then at 8 o'clock tonight, just let them." I don't know what the phrase was. People that do Recce will know what I'm talking about. It's like you need to be willing to accept it or something.
Right, okay.
You go, see at 8 o'clock tonight, just let down your guard or something and just accept the Recce. I was like, whatever, man. Like, I'm in, man. I love it. So I should enough done the Recce and that, right? And then, yeah, I kind of felt as I'm not going to go on too much with the Recce stuff because I could go on another tangent about stuff, right? But like,
2 hours.
Yeah, I know. But see, after that, Chantel's dad messaged Chantel and goes, "By the way, just let Gerry know, see when I went to do Recce and him there, he has got like a energy field around him, like because there's different types of Recce and that supposedly. There's like dragon Recce, like dragon stuff. And then he said, in all the years he's done Recce, he said to her, like, you need to tell him, like, he's got some fucking mad dragon that's over like a guardian energy around him. And I said to her, like, that's Paddy. I feel that. That's mad. Yeah. So when she said that, I was like, it actually hit home to me, like there's definitely something there. But then in the back of that, I've started looking back at my life and I'm going, there's things like in mould work. I would go into boardrooms, right? So for example, see when I was sitting talking about the guy told me to go make him tea. And I was like, I'm not making you tea, mate.
Yeah, it's just an instinct.
So I was in, and then it all ties in with you're never outnumbered. So like, see, like my uncle and my grandpa used to say, because it was like in that environment when I would stand my ground against someone, in an environment of work and their hierarchy, and I'm like standalone in here. It's strange to say it, and people probably like woo-woo stuff, right? But I remember I think it was that time with that guy with a cup of tea. I was very intimidated in that environment. I was just a graduate. I was young. I was for Glasgow. We were down south. You're Glaswegian. You're already a pedestal down anyway because you're for Scotland. So I was very aware of that, and the way they were talking to me before the cup of tea thing happened. So I was very on edge, and I was telling myself, this is like even before I was aware of all that stuff. Kind of. I don't think I've read Eckhart Tolle and stuff yet. I remember thinking like my grandpa and my dad are sitting behind me. Like there's two men. Like so my grandpa. My grandpa passed away when I was really young as well. I never had a relationship with my grandpa Joe. Like he was like the guy.
It's like
in
weird
the
how
end.
there's just that instinctual part of you that
So
the back of
basically,
your brain.
aye,
Like,
so in that environment, I was like, my dad's still alive. It's not like he's
I know.
it's weird.
Aye.
So I remember I'd done that back then. So when I started, I just remember thinking, Grandpa Joe and your dad are sitting behind you. You're fine. Relax. Like, cool beer. Like, you're good here. You're good. And I took confidence for that. I then started. That guy told me to go and get tea. I was like, you know, I'm not getting tea for you, mate. You know, so that sort of stuff. So in terms of PK and AFIT, I feel like I'm in a position where Paddy's just leading the way at points, and I'm just like, right, let's go here.
We could all sit and talk about everything that's happened in your journey, but conscious of a wee bit of time and all that, and obviously your time here and all that. But there was a post that you put up where you were doing the early days of boot camps, because it wasn't as if you just went, right, I'm going to get into fitness, I'm going to come up with this brand, and things are hunky-dory, I'm going to open my gym now. Like, there's stepping stones and milestones in the lead to that. But there's a post that you put up, which I quite liked, which was the whole, you were doing these boot camps to start with, I think, or maybe you were doing part of it.
Yeah, we done the house sprint gang, so it was like a run club. We had done the run club before there was really... there was run clubs, obviously, but it was different. It wasn't as obvious. It wasn't
like
prominent
some sort of boot camp, but I remember, like you said, which I think is so powerful for people, just the art of like sticking at something. You're like, sometimes nobody would show up, sometimes two people would show up, and you put the picture when you slid to the right was the 5:45 crew and all that, and it's like, man, I think your video, you were saying, if only I could talk back to that person, because I think you were very close to giving up.
Yeah, I was close to giving up. But I'm talking like, so, sorry, I know you're talking about time there, but see, it got to the point, I don't know if I referenced this earlier on, see when I was at the point where after Paddy passed away, there was a 2-week spell, 3-week spell, I don't know, a certain timeline there where I was just darkness. Like, I was getting a bit reckless. So when these guys are sending photos to my house, I was like, come up and chat, but don't worry about it, man. I'm fucking here. Stop taking photos, man. Do something about it. And then the work and all that, I was just getting like, I don't give a fuck anymore. But that also scared me. So like, it was to the point where it wasn't like Paddy passed away and I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it in daft here. It actually probably it probably tubbled it a bit.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm actually getting, violence, not the word. I was getting, you know, a bit more like anger, but the anger was then crossing over into bubbling a bit like, oh, this is getting a bit dodgy now. And literally it came down to a thing, because I'd phoned in sick for the work and I basically quit my job. But already I'd started going, oh no, I can't. I started having all that doubts again. And then basically I can't remember where I was at the time, but I remember having a conversation with myself and I says, if you're willing to end your life, then why don't you just take the risk and just go for it? And I can say that now because I'm over it now. This is stopped now. Just in case anyone's worried, like if they're listening to this is no longer my mindset. But genuinely, Dale, see when I first started AFIT, it was like, right, let's try the thing, and then if it doesn't work, you can still fucking check out. You can still do you can still, if you want to end it, cool. But I think it was Jordan Peterson talks about it. If you want to kill yourself, do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and it's like, okay, do it tomorrow. And then you try and buy yourself time, and then something might happen. So yes, that I think I'd heard him say that in one of these YouTube suicidal motivation and stuff. Effectively. So then it was basically a case of like, a lot of my decisions in AFIT, when I was like, had no one shown up, it was like, okay, just give it another week or two. And then I was still in that, so when I talked about the AFIT page, I was probably still contemplating whether or not I wanted to be here or not. AFIT was a thing at this point. And then it was a case of, okay, just give it another week, and then if no one shows up, but then it's cool, at least you've tried, and at least you'll die happy. That was one of my concerns, is see when I was talking about maybe just ending things when I was in my old work, I was like, because I could just die tomorrow and it wouldn't really matter anyway. I'm not happy. Like, it's not, I don't feel like I've achieved anything. So then it started changing towards like, let's try and achieve something, so then if you do die, people can go like, oh, Gerry done something, you know, at least he'd done something. Or rather than being like, oh, he was an operations manager in a job he hated. So that was always my thing. Like, okay, try and just, so I started the run club, started the boot camp. I was like, at least now I've done something. And then it was like, okay, I'll try and do a wee bit more. And then if it doesn't work, then, so there was always risks involved, financial and all the rest of it. And then I kept going. And it was like, then it got to the point where I was like, oh, I'm doing this. You know, I talked about, I don't know how I got from A to B, but it just maybe it wasn't even one day. I was like, fucking hell, I'm doing this, man. This is, oh, right, shit. Then it became its own like battle. Like, if you get another podcast, I'll stop now. But it then became a whole battle of like, oh fuck, I'm doing this. Like, I need to keep doing this, and there's a pressure of being that guy. I was still struggling with mental health. It's funny because you go back and look at videos, and I can say this now. Like,
You can see.
You know, you can see, yeah, but there's also ones where I'm going like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
well,
You say that when you walked into the gym, like the morning of, like everything went to like up there with the worst morning of your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you walk by, yeah, I'm fine, just going to go up and hit the bags.
So
It's an instinctual thing that we do,
yeah.
men, women, like humans. It's like to those that you would consider them friends, but it's like, is it a true friend if you're not going to open up in that?
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
It's usually a hard battle to do.
And it also, with regards to the bootcamp, I think has helped AFIT, and it still helps AFIT going forward. It's kind of branching off into the future of AFIT just now. So you're talking about the logo, right? I'm not going to get too much, but so it's AFIT, right? So the find is, this is what I love about AFIT as well. Obviously, it's all got the story of AFIT. That's kind of the background of what I kind of save a life. Inevitably, to be honest with you, mate, I've probably saved my own. So I probably have saved a life in the sense that I've saved my own AFIT. So when people come into AFIT and some of the...
Arguably the most important life you could save.
Yeah, exactly. Aye. So like, see, people will come up to me and they will say, like, you see coaches posting screenshots of like messages they get for people writing, it's great. I just don't do it because, I don't know, I'm a bit kind of like, I just don't know what, I don't know. I'm not knocking it, by the way. I'm just, but I get them as well. I get messages as well like that, right? And I always say back to people, like, they'll say, Gerry, AFIT's been fucking great for me. Like, it's maybe not said they've saved their life, but like, it's changed my life, maybe, right? And I'll go, yeah, fucking, I feel that, man. Like, I'll say
I'm with you there.
Yeah, so I feel like within AFIT, albeit I'm the guy that kind of started it, I consider myself just like the janitor. I just keep things ticking over. Like, I'm taking just as much from AFIT as everyone else. Like, so see when someone says to me, like, AFIT's brilliant, and I'm like, yeah, fucking know, man, it's great, isn't it? Fucking brilliant. But see the thing is, going forward, like, obviously right now we're in a position where it's like conditioning, and I don't call myself a High Rocks gym. We happen to just go and get flags and stuff, right? But like, we don't have High Rocks classes, like 5:45. I don't call it High Rocks 5:45. It's basically High Rocks training, but I'm very aware I don't want to alienate people that don't come to the gym for High Rocks, because some people would look at, so that's what I was getting at. So AFIT, right? You see AFIT Glasgow, AFIT, someone like you might be like, AFIT, fucking that's class. I like that turn of phrase. Whereas it's also AFIT Glasgow. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see AFIT Glasgow. So it's funny because I started noticing this at the boot camp. Is one of the boys came in one time, this is fucking years ago now, and he was like, oh mate, fucking, I need to get one of the hoodies, that's class, AFIT and all that. And then he was referencing AFIT, whatever, because he goes, I'm AFIT now, like, I need to screw the nut, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the girls was there, and she's a primary school teacher, like, very timid and all the rest of it. And she was like, is that what that means? I thought it was like AFIT Glasgow. And so right now, within people probably watching this or know AFIT, they see it one of two ways. And inevitably over the time, because of just making the brand look better, AFIT's more hard hitting in the sense of like, boom, AFIT looks good. But there is people in the gym that will see it like,
it's the perception.
Because right now people will see AFIT and be like, oh, that gym's flat. Because you see the 70 people in 5:45, right? It's a funny thing I get, because potential new clients will say to me like, oh, I couldn't come to that. Look at it, there's like, this is what the people always say. They'll go, oh, I couldn't go to that gym. There's like, oh, the boys with their tops off, right? Oh, looking all big and all that, right? See if you literally look at the photo. Go back and look at any 70 people in the photo, right? There's probably 5 guys with their tops off.
Aye.
Right? But see if you actually really look at the photo, you'll see like just normal people. And I hate to say normal, but you know,
it just looks intimidating, like initially, but you get under the layers.
It looks intimidating because of the number. But people talk about, oh, there's guys with their tops off, that's too advanced, that gym. It's like, no, you're focusing on that.
What do you think of that whole conversation with because there's he gets a bit of shade. It's like the thing in High Rocks now, like, oh, do you need to take your top off?
Yeah, I don't see the thing. I see the stuff like that. Like, I personally don't mind that. Like, this is what me and Chris talk about. That's what me and Chris got on really. But me and Chris are a good foil for each other. Things that Chris will say, and he'll go, that not annoy you? Like, there's a lot of stuff on social media, right? Social media is terrible for people aiming shots and that, right? And not Chris actually, but other people will reference stuff like, did you see that person wrote that about, you know, people with High Rocks, tops off, people that flex, bring a videographer. There was one, it might have been aimed at me. I genuinely don't really care. I thought it was quite funny. It was like, oh, people that go and do a High Rocks and they bring a videographer and they're flexing for the camera. There's a video of me literally on my page and I've taken my top off, I'm top off at High Rocks and I'm flexing for the camera. And someone mentioned that to me before, like someone done a post about it. And the person referencing sent it to me, trains at AFIT, and they were raging, right? Like, as if kind of defending me. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not like, genuinely doesn't bother me. Because it's one of the ones, isn't it? It's a good thing I've learned through the years is like, there's my reality, there's your reality, and then there's like the world's reality. I can only affect my own reality. So like, if you've got an opinion on what I do, it's fine.
Hopefully it doesn't keep you up, but it's
genuinely not.
Me,
Honestly, mate, like initially, maybe when I first seen it, I was like, oh, boom, and then it's all this watcher in the head thing. I'm probably trying to make it sound like a pure Buddha here, but no, that I'm just being like swearing Paddy's life, mate. I'm just like, cool, I get it. Like it's fine. I think when stuff that probably does offend you, it's like you're probably. I would always say it's a you problem if someone says something that annoys you like that, because at the end of the day, maybe there's something you need to address within yourself. So for me, I do high roxes, right, and I'm in a position now where we can go and we can get flags and win high roxes, right. But see if someone slates high rox, like I'm not high rox, I don't care. Like I'm Gerry. It's like I've talked about the whole line. See whatever I do, mate, I'm just me. Unless someone comes up and insults me and my family, or says something about
it's a wee bit more personal.
I'm genuinely cool. I get it. See, the thing is, though, people say take your tops off at high rocks. It's like, see if you were in it's a shame, because some people, it's maybe they don't do it because they've not got the body confidence, but they would like to. There's people that, like, not even just at AFIT, I just know people that are like, oh, one day I'm going to be one of you boys with the tops off. So, you know, it's probably a goal for some people, but they are very aware of it, and it's like, you know, I'm not comfortable having my top off just now. Whereas some people, it's like, I'm probably not comfortable with my top off, so fuck you having your top off.
It depends how you look at it, but it's everybody's perception. Some people think it's an arrogance play, and we all know the guys that like their whole life and the whole demeanour is about just the flex and all that sort of stuff, which is just their perception of what they think.
So for me, it's a case of, like, when I train, it's like because you're running. I think it's because they're running. I wouldn't go into a commercial gym. See, when I'm doing weights, I'm not got a top off.
I know,
it's when I'm doing conditioning, because inevitably you're sweating, and then when you run or you do something that's, I don't know, maybe it's just a comfort thing. I don't know. I just do it. I'm genuinely not doing it from a place of like trying to flex. It's more, I feel like, do you know what it's like? So see when, so everything is like how you feel. You can maybe kid yourself on. It's like, if I take my top off, I'm lighter. You know, it's like, I'm obviously being a bit extreme here, but
you notice it when you're training. You're like, oh, this is slowing me down, man. I'm no sweating.
It's just whatever's comfortable. So like, so people will say that about AFIT, like, oh, AFIT's like high end, like, oh, blah blah blah. But mate, literally, there's people in AFIT that, like, I've got a girl just now, actually. I shared her page the other day, Taylor. She's never stepped in the gym before. She's went from 0 to high rocks, so that's her Instagram page. And she's doing Glasgow High Rocks tomorrow. Brilliant. So people just say, like, oh, AFIT's not accessible to new people. It's like, how do you know? You don't know anything about AFIT. It's like I said to you earlier on, see when the people see within AFIT, people see what I want them to see. So this is my reality. AFIT's my reality. I don't, like, no, not you personally, but like what your reality compared to mine. I don't care what you're doing. All due respect, like, I need to worry about my own, because inevitably I see someone's worrying about the next person. So you're saying, like, people talking about high roxers with their top off, or this gym's doing that, or that person's doing that. It's like, I'm the kind of person that's like, I'm just doing my own, I'm just on my own path here. I'm cool, man, right? Because inevitably, if I'm focused on, like, this person said this person might have aimed a dig at me, or that person might have said that. It's like, if I'm worrying about what they're doing and that person, like, who's worrying about what I'm doing? Exactly. So, like, if I'm worrying too much about your reality and what you're saying about me, then that's cool. Like, you keep looking at me, because I'm fucking looking at myself, and I'm trying to figure myself out. So that's like my kind of mantra, and I say that to people in AFIT as well. Yeah. And inevitably you do get sort of like, you know, like gym, I don't know if I'd call it drama or competition or something, but I say to them, you know, so there's probably people within AFIT that are a bit louder and bigger and stronger than that, right? But I guess, I don't know if it's lucky or not, but I'm older, so I don't think if I say I command authority, but these guys just listen to me. I'm not a dick, so I don't go in. It's
probably how you communicate.
Yeah, I don't get in the gym like I'm a big fucking ticket. I just go in the gym and I'll just chat to them, because the boys in AFIT and the girls can speak to me in a level, because I'm open, so they know I'm going to be honest with them. So I will say, if someone's getting a bit too heated, we're like, oh, did you see that? I'll say to them, hey, relax, man, whatever yourself. Because let them talk about, let them do what they do. Like,
it's that whole let them theory again.
Yeah, let them. It's like, it's not that. Nothing's that deep, mate. See, unless, and I guess it probably all goes back to the thing where, like, Paddy passed away. It's like, a lot of the time something's happening. It's like drama, blah, 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 and then you can feel people starting to pull you places. Because inevitably sometimes they're pulling you places because it suits them. It's like, oh, something's happened. And they actually they'll put that energy onto you. It's like, I feel shite. Do you feel shite as well? Because they've said that. It's like, no, I'm just worrying at myself. Like,
exactly.
So
and look what happens. Good things come.
Yeah, like, inevitably. Because right now it's a case of, like, see when a problem happens in life, you fucking soon know about it. So when Paddy passed away for me, it was a case of, like, okay, this is bad.
Everything stops.
Yeah, this is a problem. see, most things in life now, to be honest, Dale, nothing's really a problem. Like,
Because you've experienced some of the worst of it.
yeah. But then it's unfortunately for some people, they do need to experience something like that to get there. But
Yeah.
I'm in a position now where it's just like, I'm trying to, by no means turn a positive, and I'm trying to just turn it round, and I'm still doing it, mate. I'm still in the process.
Still trying on. Yeah, look, we could sit and talk for another couple of hours.
How long's that
I think we're maybe approaching two and a bit, doing something.
It's all good stuff
But I
anyway.
definitely would like to get you back for part 2 and talk more about the next chapter and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think I really appreciate you kind of opening up and sharing that stuff as well.
Yeah, no, it's been good, mate. It's been good for me. It's like therapy, innit?
I know, that's some
it's
people
good,
do
man.
say that. But an absolute testament to your character, your integrity, and I certainly get a good, better understanding of where all that comes from. So that's awesome to see. So
Appreciate that, mate.
we'll leave a link below the show notes and that for people where they can follow you. Are you doing open spaces? Is there space to still work with you and that sort of stuff?
Aye,
now?
so we're opening
Or is
that
it-
gym over the next few weeks, so there's going to be...
Our class is that soon, right?
Aye, that's
Definitely
when
when you get a
I'm
part 2.
stressing
We'll
like
wait.
that,
We'll
mate.
wait till
Aye,
you're
I know,
back. But no, really, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, mate.
Nice one, mate. Thanks a lot. Thank you.